Houston, our instruments are showing that we have a incoming message from deep space. Repeat, Houston, we have an incoming message from deep space. Houston, we'll begin playing message now. Houston, we're going to try and translate that up here. Hold for translation. Translation complete. We'll begin playing message now.
Hey, it's me, Melissa.
What do you do when the aliens invade? Take a shot of MK Ultra and watch Melissa Jade. Put on your tinfoil hat and tune right in. We got that crime spree, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, a complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Aliens is on the sun or in Area 51. Time travels, unravels, haunted castles, cops are baffled, potential experimental thoughts that make you transcendental. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa. Crime sprees, flat earth theories, government conspiracies, complex Mandela effects, unidentified objects, a mind expanding, fake moon landing, what it all bends understanding. It's me, Melissa. It's me, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Shay. Hello, Brat. How are you guys?
Hey.
Welcome, welcome. Hello, Kay, Michelle, Harlot, Lise Lemons. We have Jennifer, Neat Noodle, D Smalls. I think it's way too many people in here to say hello individually, but hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Brat. Thank you so much, Shay, for coming on and joining us. And happy Easter, everybody, if you do celebrate.
Happy Easter.
Yes. Okay. So right off the bat, there will be no disrespect happening here tonight. All opinions are welcome. You are allowed to have any opinion you want. All questions are welcome. Just communicate it in a respectful manner. My mods are on guard. Any nasty comments, any jabs, you're going to be removed. Okay. It's no secret that I have had issues with Brad, and I have had my opinions about Brad, but she is a guest here tonight. And so we're going to conduct ourselves appropriately. So you're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to have questions, but communicate it respectfully. And so mods, do what you got to do as far as the chat. So please make my mods' jobs easy. Don't give them an issue tonight. I would appreciate that. Well, and thank you, Wolfie. And yes, we'll get into that. Hello, Crime Sleuth, and we know you're Julian from the sidelines. Well, and thank you so much, Wolfie. That's very much appreciated. So thank you. Yeah. So, welcome, Brat. We have definitely talked about you here on this channel a variety of times as far as your association to the Idaho case and your coverage, and your territory is more TikTok. So for anybody who may not be familiar with you, you want to explain a little bit of who you are, how you got into this case, and what led us here.
Oh gosh. Sure. Brat Norton on TikTok, everybody. And yes, I'm Beyond the Bullshit on YouTube. You know what is funny? I just simply started making content almost a year ago as of the 2nd of April. And I just wanted to talk about the Idaho 4 case. I had a lot of friends and family around me in, real life that nobody cared, nobody was interested. And I just, after reading the affidavit, I just couldn't help but question so many things. And I started, I followed people on TikTok since the case had kind of kicked off, but I wasn't really into TikTok back then. And I had found a couple of creators that I liked on the case. But a lot of people kind of quit speculating after the affidavit came out. And I just wasn't done speculating. I thought there was a lot more to discuss. And I really just made one video because I wanted to talk about the Idaho 4 case. That is all. I don't claim to have any degrees in cyber sleuthing or private investigating or anything like that. I just want to talk about it.
So this was the first case that you covered as a creator on social media.
Yes. And yes. And
Well,
I hate to say covered because for me, it was just speculating, but yes, I got very much into it. I read every document. I would go over everything, but I mean, yes. Yeah.
Well, and for context purposes, I think it's important, you know, for anybody, as we're going to get into this, and there's decisions that were made and choices that were made. And I think it's important to have the context of you were new. And this is the first, as a creator, case that you're covering in real time. And it was a crazy case. And as far as I understand, you grew very quickly. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of attention, I think, just because as far as people watching, followers, not even follower count, just a lot of attention within the speculation realm, because nobody was really speculating anymore. And I think I was like one of the very few who was continuing to speculate on the Idaho 4 case during my lives and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And so like this live in particularly, because I want to separate the Idaho 4 case from what I refer to as the Idahoax. And I refer to it as the Idahoax because there are a lot of people who have come out and they claim that they have inside information or inside details, leaks, sources to this case that turn out, in my opinion, not to be true. Can't debunk every single one of them, but with at least the narratives and the information they're pushing forward, it's just too ridiculous, in my opinion, to believe. And there's not any receipts that usually back it up either. So I've been covering that. And you're somebody that definitely has come up as I refer to as an issue because you have kind of gone into the territory back then of Dot. And that's when I first, if I'm not mistaken, Jay, I think that's the first time I even heard about your name around was with the Dot scenario. Because I'm not a TikToker. I don't follow TikTok.
Yeah.
And the whole Dot scenario, and we're going to get into all of it, but the whole Dot scenario blew up. And when it came on my radar, I went to exposing Dot, and that's when I found your name. And then we heard about your name again during the most recent Paramount Cyber Sleuths episodes. You were in that series. And then again with the infamous alleged leak of messages between yourself and Steve Gonsalves.
Yeah.
Who is the victim's father of one of the 4 victims of the homicides. So I want to, again, this is not about the case.
You're good. Whatever you want.
More about
into it.
Well, I just want everyone to know we're not here to discuss the case details. We're here to discuss the trolls and Brat's story, specifically what she experienced. This is her experience. If I talk on somebody, they have every right to be able to speak for themselves and at least share their side. Certain receipts were shared with me, and we're going to go through some of them. And we're definitely going to put to end this whole issue that came about, because really what led us here is when I went over those leaked messages between allegedly you and Steve, there was another creator who really battled me and made it a personal mission to prove that these messages were fake. And so one of the big things that we're here to do tonight is to show that they are not a fake screen recording app. They absolutely are proved to be legitimate. And so all I could say is I could confirm it's not an app and it's legitimate. And I can't tell you who's on the other side messaging, because that would be speculation. But it's definitely not a screen record messaging app. So we're going to kind of jump back and we're going to focus on your TikTok creator. And you are covering more of the conspiratorial topics regarding this case, and you're gaining traction and people are desperate for answers regarding this case. And I'm just giving context for anybody who may not have been following. People were starving, in my opinion, for answers. Now, there's a lot of things that don't really add up with this case. Now, granted, come trial, once we have all the information, it may add up perfectly. But there's something that wasn't sitting right where people were like, no, I need more. So in my opinion, when creators like yourself came out and you would kind of like touch upon that area, there was a high demand for it. And somewhere at that point, you are introduced or stumbled upon Dot. So can you really take us from there of how you and Dot even got introduced?
So I do want to note that I was talking to Steve, or we had communicated in June. I had never planned to even ever say his name or anything like that. So just know that we're in June of last year, and that I had just started making content in April, y'all, just so you understand how new I was. Last April, made my first video, May, June, Steve.
All right, yeah, maybe we should take it into that context. So when did you drop your first video?
Clarify. So
yeah,
I think it was April 2nd, I want to say, because I think it was my son's birthday. It had been right around April 2nd, which is coming up.
And let me get these screenshots ready. So before Dot came about, and you're totally right, timeline format, how did you and Steve come about to having communication?
So this girl, let's call her E. You have her name, her whole name.
I'm gonna pull it up.
I've recently found her and tracked her down, and I know that she has told different creators, yes, that was me who reached out to her. This girl E, as we'll call her, reached out to me on TikTok and said, what did she say? She said, hey, Steve wants, I've been trying to get a hold of you. I'm paraphrasing. We have the receipts. She'll show the receipts. I'm trying to get a hold of you. Steve wants your information on Mad Greek or something about Mad Greek. And to be honest with you, I thought it was like a hoax. I was like, no way. I mean, this is like, no way. This has to be a joke, whatever. And I was like, okay, like whatever. She ended up messaging me on Instagram. I think we went over to Instagram because she wanted to send me his Facebook. I was like, okay, where can I send the stuff? This was after I posted the Mad Greek Pinterest stuff. Okay. And I didn't post it. This is when I talked about it on what I found. Okay. I never posted the Mad Greek stuff. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I talked about it in a post on my TikTok, and he seemed, I don't know how he saw it. I don't know how that went on the back end. She reached out to me, said, hey, Steve's looking for your Mad Greek information. I'm paraphrasing. And yeah, there you go.
Right. And
then we ended up speaking on Instagram in further detail regarding it. And then I said, okay, where can I send it to him? And she gave me his Facebook, and I was like, I think I was just being like, are you sure this is him? Something like that. I don't know. I ended up sending it to him on Facebook. That was that.
Okay. I mean, that was. And so just to pause real quick, thank you so much, True Crime Nicole. She says Brat Pack for life. I missed that. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Jennifer, who also says Brat Pack. So thank you both. And I'm sorry that I missed it. So I want to make this clear. I was shown the unredacted version. So for anybody who's like, well, hey, there's a bunch of blocks in it, those are my redactions, because I'm not about to put somebody's face and name out there. You could take my word for it, or you don't have to take my word for it. I don't care. I'm telling you, and I think my community knows, I would not give you my word if I didn't actually see it. I made these redactions, and so I cropped out the person's face and I cropped out the person's name. I think it is interesting that you didn't go out of your way, and thank you, Violet, that you didn't go out of your way to get in touch with Steve, that there was actually somebody who reached out to you, and as you guys are going to see here, and thank you, Murder Mystery Mindy. And so as you could see, this person reached out, and this was June 1st, 2023, and they said, hi. Then on June 2nd, I'm trying to reach out to you because I spoke with Steve. Okay, so this is somebody else. And at this point, you didn't know who this person was, correct?
No. And why don't we make it also clear that we screen shared my entire phone, and I let you do whatever. She was like, touch this, click on this, because you can see if things are like edited or whatever. Like I literally told her she could log into my Facebook if she wanted. She can have it all. Like, just so y'all know, like I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm like, well, so what do you need from me? I went through, we sat on the phone for how many hours and just went through everything. Like these aren't
3.5 hours of screen recording.
These are in messages, going to the message, scrolling, clicking, whatever, just to be really clear.
And we're going to see that when it gets to the Steve messages, because I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking of everything that could be used to debunk it. So I'm like, do this, do that, do this. I've seen it all, you know, like, so any redactions that you guys are going to see just because we don't want to put personal information out there on somebody else.
Yep.
So you didn't know this person when they reached out. They just come into your inbox. You're a new creator at this point, and they're like, "Hey, I'm talking with Steve and I want you to speak with him."
Yeah, and I honestly thought it was fake. I mean, but then they started talking, and then you'll see the rest here, or how's your showing. And I mean, I even say I don't really want to get close to the family. Thanks, but no thanks. Like, I was very in conspiracy mode, and I just didn't want anyone to taint my clear vision on it, I guess, because I have opinions on what happened, and I didn't want that to be tainted. And when you talk with family, that's what happens. So
I know, and I did appreciate seeing this because it helps put the pieces together in my mind. So you could see where it even says you can chat now, showing that they didn't have any prior communication, at least on this platform. And thank you, Cece. So you respond, "Hey, sorry you were stuck in my request box. I'm honestly not trying to get close to the family because I don't want an emotional connection to taint my judgment." And they respond, "It's okay. I just want to let you know I spoke to Steve if you want to reach out to him on Facebook Messenger." Now, I want to pause for a moment because I know Crime Sleuthin was very adamant as an example of how to debunk the messages was, well, hey, there was no really introduction. You were just somebody random reaching out, you know, and I said, well, how do you know that there wasn't prior communication? And this is before I spoke to you. But then now it makes a little bit more sense to know there was somebody already speaking to Steve and mediating at least the arrangement for you guys to speak.
And this person who you're showing, we'll call them, other creators have found them because I have handed over these unredacted receipts to certain creators. Be like, I did not reach out to Steve. Like, I would never do that. And they've went and have talked to them, and they were like, yeah. So, I mean, you, Melissa Jade, you have the unredacted. You certainly reach out to them and ask them for the same receipts. Like, again, I don't edit anything. Obviously, my shit with Steve is embarrassing enough. If I wanted to edit shit, I would. I don't edit stuff. It is what it is, just in case this, for example, you know? So anyone can go find them and ask them themselves.
Yep. And so they're like, okay, you know, I think you should speak to Steve. You're like, I really appreciate it. And she's the one who said, I think he would like to see the screenshots, you know? Is she referring to the Mad Greek screenshots?
Yeah, because I didn't post them, and so I told people just to message me and ask, and then I was sending them on a separate Instagram I had created. Thank God, because I actually was hacked on that Instagram. Someone hacked me into that Instagram and got in there and changed all my stuff, changed my name, changed my picture, and it's like they wanted me to see that they were in there because they left it so I could get back in there, but they changed all my information. But yeah, that was the first time I've ever been like hacked, which is crazy. But yeah, I was sending it with that Instagram, and they knew. They got in there to see who I was sending to. I guess how many people I sent it to, and I sent it to quite a few people.
Okay. And so you said, I honestly would love to speak with him, but it might affect my mind and my mindset, and I'm definitely stuck on, I know something bigger is going on. But yeah, I could absolutely send him the stuff I have. I truly want justice for them. I'm just not sure. BK is it. And it was alone. And if he was alone, I feel that there is a lot more going on here. And you said, and I feel bad for saying that to him, the victim's dad. I think there's one more here, which, yeah. And then she said, I know, I asked him. He said he doesn't think he's involved. He just doesn't know if he's the only one. So I asked him, he said he doesn't think he's involved. I think she meant she believes that he's involved, but may not be the only one. And that's when you ask, what's his Facebook, just to confirm which one, or want to just send him my email. So this is when you and Steve actually get put in contact. She sends you Steve's account. I did see those messages. She then sends Brat Steve's account. And that's when you reach out to Steve for the first time on Messenger and send him the Mad Greek stuff, correct?
Right. That's why the first thing is the Mad Greek stuff. That's why, because that's what he wanted, and that's all I was going to send to him, you know?
So did you have any intentions on having a continued communication with Steve versus just reaching out to give him those screenshots?
Oh my God, no. No, no, I did not. And I think I am the one. I don't even know. It's been so long since I've even gone over them, but I think I am the one who followed up with something. But no, I never thought in a million years he'd even respond. I wasn't even sure if it was him, but I clicked through after I sent it to him. I clicked through his Facebook. Christy's on there, you know, everyone, he's got a whole Facebook, and it seemed to be him, but I mean, I wasn't sure at first. You know, when I started talking to him more, I like really got into it, and then we like shared, you know, he called me from his phone number. You know, it's obviously Steve on the phone. You have those as well. But like, I mean, but for a while I was like, what if this is not even Steve, you know, like who, you know, but yeah, after a while that was confirmed when he called me on the phone. It's Steve's voice.
And so I also saw, not only, you know, did I see the messages, but we were able to take the messages, and at the point in the messages where you said, all right, let's do a call or something like that, you actually brought me into, not a screenshot, you actually brought me into your Verizon app. I saw her IMEI, her phone numbers, her whole family plan, and was able to confirm that on the date within the messages that they plan to do a call is the date that you do see a call with allegedly his number. So I just want you guys to understand, like, this was verified.
Call him. I'm like, she would never, but I'm like, if you guys don't, I mean,
yeah, I don't
call this with Paramount too. I don't think people understand, but I had to do all this with Paramount. Like, we went through all of this with Paramount, and they were even like, well, how do we know it's not his phone number? And someone's like, well, call him. And then they called him, and they were like, well, what if that's not him? Blah, blah, blah. And like, it was like a whole thing. And then they ended up confirming, and I showed you those texts too with the Paramount, because they had to go and confirm with Chronicles of Olivia that that was the same number that they also used to communicate on. So again, there's like only so, even if someone was really making this up, you can only make it up so far, you know? And like, just being honest, like I left all of that stuff unredacted for Paramount, thinking, what if one day the shit comes back around? I don't freaking know. I only ever gave them to a couple of people who signed NDAs. And those are my friends that, you know, I thought I could trust. Somebody obviously leaked them, but Paramount went deep into all this stuff. Like, they don't mess around. So if anyone wants, they can have the producer's phone number and call them. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that like even Paramount was still like questioning when I pulled up my phone records, and then they took that away and went and figured it all out. And they were like, okay, cool. We believe you. Whatever. So, I mean, there's only so many things you can fake. And I just, like, first of all, I would never fake something like this. Second of all, really, with how embarrassing this is for me and what I've said to him, I was all wrapped up into Dot and whatever. Why would I ever fake something like me? This is just ridiculous. It actually disgusts me, to be honest, that anyone would say I faked it, but it is what it is.
Right. No, I always believed that they were likely to be legit. But you know, now I'm even more sure of it. And we'll get into the leak and everything that happened with that. But I'm gonna pull up. This is a portion of my screen recording. What you guys are going to be looking at. This is just for context, because I want it to be sure that this is not created or anything. This is me on FaceTime with Brat. So as you could see, that little arrow that you could pull to the left, if I pulled that, you would see the big BN that I'm on a call. I want you to pay attention to the top left of the screen where it has the how long it's been screen recording. The reason that it's purple versus red is because it is Brat sharing her screen and me recording Brat's screen. So this is what you guys are going to look at, and Brat is going to be taking us from her actual home screen into her Facebook app and then into the Messenger, okay? So this is her home screen, and she pulls up her actual Facebook account. So she's showing me, I'm going in, this is my account. This is not a screen recording fabricated app. She's scrolling on her feed. She's showing me, this is my post. This is last on my profile. And then she's going to switch to her messages, her inbox. And before anybody asks, do you want to explain to them why there will be no new messages in this account, since this is a current screen recording and it's going to be the same messages since we last saw the screen recording?
I deleted my Facebook over and over. I literally reacted to my Facebook just for this. Like, I got rid of it a long time ago because people are after, well, Dot was after posting people's kids and I was just too freaking nervous and I just got rid of it. I've recently gotten rid of it, but I'm happy to screen share with whomever.
Because that was one of the things that I had first asked, is I was like, okay, but wait, why aren't there any new messages in there? You know, like, and she said I deactivated it. And so, but, and so this thumbs up that was, because this was not in the version I saw.
I had sent that like January 29th, and I feel horrible. I must have been, because I did on my sub lives only, I pulled up the messages on my end. I would read them off to like a handful of my subs, right? And we just go through a couple of them. I never fucking showed them. Sorry, I never showed them. Excuse me for my language. I never showed them or anything like that. And I have showed a couple with their redacted, with Gonzo Goncalves. It's completely wiped out. Like, I would never show this stuff. And people thought that I leak this stuff. I would never do that. I think these are personal and private. Now that they're out there, they're freaking out there. But I was never going to. And I let everyone call me a liar for God knows how long, and never once showed them. And that's how it was going to be. And I don't care. This is personal, private conversation. I don't think anyone should ever see, to be honest with you. But anyway,
okay, well, so then I'll stop there.
So I think I may have accidentally did that when I was going through them on my sub live. I must have accidentally done that.
Okay, because
I don't know.
We know that I showed the video of you on your TikTok live, where you
from really quickly. Yes, that's true. That is true. Yes, I did do that. Yes,
and I was
able super blurry, really fast. I don't think anyone, because Mindy came and Mindy was like, "There, that's false," and I was like, "No, what do you call this false?" But I mean, no one could grab anything from them. Hopefully, I mean, you're right though. I did do that. That's true. That's true.
So that was where I first saw that you shared them. So, but yes, no, it was too blurry to see it, but I was able to actually pause and find the specific part where you sent the dot car on fire, that video, and compare it to once the clear version. So I was able to say, yep, this is another reason of why I believe that they are legit, because it lined up perfectly. Yeah. So why did you originally screen record these messages?
What do you mean? There were a couple, two or three. They only gone out to 5 people. 2/3 of them were because they were my friends and I trusted them and they believed me. When this was like kind of after the fact, when everyone thought that like I was lying, and they believed me regardless of having any receipts. And I asked them to sign NDAs, and I was like, I'll send them to you, because I wanted them to see what he was saying, because there's so much in these messages that I feel like I had missed. I was wrapped up in the Dot stuff, which we can get back to with the timeline thing, but I was so wrapped up in Dot stuff that, like, I swear sometimes when I read these messages, even now, it's like I'm reading them for the first time. Like, I was not in the right mindset at all. And then the other 2 were for receipt purposes for Paramount. They also signed NDA, so they were people in the Paramount show or in Cyber Sleuths.
So you said that, so like 5 people you're saying?
Yeah.
About 5 people?
Yep, that's it. Yep.
And Shay, you could interrupt anytime and add, by the way. I feel bad.
NDAs. They all signed NDAs.
And so you wanted to share it. So I know the whole thing with Bloom, and we'll get into that later, you know, like, but the whole thing with Bloom came out and you allegedly giving him messages. Did that ever happen? Like, giving him these messages, did that ever happen?
No, no. I spoke with him about what the grand jury and what Dylan had said, but I did not sell any messages. I did not give him all these messages. That never occurred.
And thank you, Psycho Cunt. Psycho Cunt says, props to Brat for facing the bullshittery here. Being embarrassed actually makes me feel better. And thank
very
you.
Embarrassing. This is very embarrassing. I mean, that's why I find it hilarious that anyone think I would edit or that I would like make these or whatever, because don't you think I would like not put my embarrassing, crazy, like dot conspiracy in it. I mean, come on, you know, I mean, I would, if I were to fake message it, really, anyway, whatever.
Well,
No,
and I did say that. I said these messages
feel
don't
bad.
point you in a good light whatsoever, in my opinion. So I said if
Right.
they were fabricated, I would anticipate not having the messages that you said, because it wasn't even him versus, and we'll get into why you were in that mental state. But I'm like, you could tell paranoia is really driving you crazy. And you were deep down that rabbit hole towards the end. It was so I didn't really see a purpose of fabricating that. So were you didn't physically give Bloom any of the messages, but you verbally was telling him like stuff about the grant. What'd you say with
I told him that Steve said that he talked to the grand jury and that there was something that Dylan said during a text message about somebody unalived them. I told him that. Yes.
And then he used that in an article, and that's what caused everybody to think you had given Bloom messages.
Yeah. Well, Bloom has multiple other sources who Steve, you can literally track it based off a lot of their content. Steve was, in my opinion, copying and pasting a lot of these things that were told to me to other creators. And there's a lot of things that were leaked that Steve has told me that I've never even spoke about or hadn't until all this stuff came out, that other creators were, in my opinion, putting out, because it's like word for word what Steve says. And Bloom does talk to a couple of other creators that he talks to.
Right. Well, and thank you, Murder Mystery Mindy, but tonight's not going to be about personal issues going on between creators. This is about what I've been calling out Brat about for over a year, and her having the space to share her side of it. And there were things that she shared with me with receipts, and I want to be able to share that with my audience. And so this isn't about personal. You guys could deal with that on your own. I'm here tonight to be able to give Brat her space to share her side, because I've been talking on her for over a year, and she deserves to at least share her side of it.
Mindy's great. We love her. And look, all of you guys called me liars, and I love you all still.
I didn't call you lie. I never called you a liar. I just didn't agree. I still don't agree. But yeah. Actually, I haven't seen many people not think that was legit. I didn't think you were speaking to Steve in the beginning. I think it was. And then it eventually became apparent that you were speaking to Steve. But I don't ever called you a liar. I just didn't agree with the choices.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
So, yeah, Alyssa. All right. So you start speaking to Steve, and I don't want to just press play, guys, and freely move the messages, because even though they're out, there's a couple of numbers in here, and this is just a full screen recording, unredacted. So if I pause on it, it's only because there are numbers shared in here that I didn't redact. And so, but I'm going to show you guys the part, because let's just get right off the bat with I was having her, as you could see here, because if this was a screen recording app, you would not be able to. I was telling her on this call, we were on the phone, and I said, tap this message, tap that message, pull this message to the left, pull it, because if it was just a recording app like the one Crime Sleuthin put out, you would not be able to do that. And so what you're seeing here is Brat listening to what I'm requesting in real time by tapping on this one, tapping on that one, pull it to the left, pull it to the right. I was trying to think of anything that would be able to convey through a screen recording that this is legitimate messages. So hold on one second.
Yeah, you had me forward one to myself too, which I didn't even know you could do on freaking Facebook Messenger.
And thank you, Willa. Thank you very much. And so, yeah, and I know that that's after a couple of phone numbers are shown, and that's why I'm saying I'm going to just pull it off for a second, but I'm going to get to that part.
Everyone's already seen my phone number, so you're good with that. It's already
But
out.
I think
whatever.
Her number is, there's a couple of phone numbers in here and like emails, and I don't want to re-put that out. These are the same messages. trying to get to the part where you forwarded it. Here it is. Okay.
Catching up on chat. I haven't even got a chance to look at the chat.
It's probably best until we ask them for their questions, which I'll give you guys a chance to ask questions. So as you guys can see here, I'm going to ask Brat, because we didn't want to unsend any of the messages. So I asked her to forward it to herself in Messenger. So that's what you're going to watch her do right here. She hits forward. She types her own name into it, and she forwards the messages to herself. I can't really prove anything beyond that. She shared it. She freely went into her phone. All of the messages align with the message leak, and it's not a fake recording app that was claimed to be used. This is a full-on. So you're going to watch her now leave, and you're going to watch her go into her own Messenger. There's the message that she just forwarded. Okay. And it's simple as that. And that's a cute dog, but it's as simple as that. And then I think you just
I need to go off of that screen. I don't know what that was. I was saying to myself. I don't know what that was.
I send myself
on mine. I have no idea what that was. No, you're good.
And so then she leaves back out.
Yep. Make sure everything's good. I'm like, whatever, but I don't know what myself.
It's a cute dog.
You're good.
And so you guys can see she's forwarding these messages. It's not an app. So sleuthing, it is. It's done with. There it is. It's not, and that's another thing that couldn't have, wasn't able to be shown when you're doing this app, is that you're freely able to move in the app itself, not because that was in this example video to prove that those messages were fake. It was to show how you could move freely in and out of the Facebook Messenger to the Facebook app. But when she clicked it, it brought you out into like a Safari through the web page. Like, no, everybody knows that that's not how it looks. Okay, these are absolutely 100% legitimate. And so as far as not being a fake screen recording app, I will not say exactly who they're between. Allegedly, Steve and Brat. But it's not a fake screen recording app. And thank you, Jennifer. You have a lot of supporters here. Jennifer Sohnbracker says, love you, Brat. So thank you. All right. So you're
I don't think Steve can. I mean, he has admitted, and I have screenshots, I've sent them to you, to other creators that have asked one-on-one, did you give this to Brat? They've said yes, with the screen grab from 1112 King. But I'll be honest with you, like, I don't think that he's ever going to be able to come out and be like, yeah, that's me. Like, that's not in his best interest. I don't blame him for being like, but I'm also not lying. That doesn't mean that I'm lying and making this up. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I think it's smart for him. Well, I would just not talk to anybody. That's just my opinion. But I see a reason why he may not want to come out and say, there are things that are within these messages that are not ideal. And so I'm not surprised, and while saying that, I'm not judging Steve. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that it wouldn't surprise me if there was deniability there. But this was not an app. That's all I can say is it was not an app. And like I said, I have a 3.5 hour screen recording where it's freely. She did what I asked her to do. And she did offer to give me her Facebook login and password. I just didn't.
Anybody that wants it, if I trusted all of you, I'd give it to all of you. Seriously, log in, see for yourself. Like, I have nothing to freaking hide. Crime sleuthing. If I wish you would have just asked. Like, it's that easy, It's that simple. I've tried to like give over receipts, and a lot of people, nobody wants them, and I'm like, okay, well, and Melissa Jade, you were kind enough to be like, yeah, let's have a conversation, and here we did. And then I'm like, well, what do you need? Get in my phone. What do you want? Log in. How do you want it? What do you want? I have everything, so I just have nothing to hide. But no one's ever asked me. No one has ever asked me about any of this. They just say whatever they want to say without even getting my side of it or whatever. You don't got to believe me, but no one ever asked me. And that's the upsetting part. So.
Well, and I'm happy to have you on, and I've told you even when we were speaking personally, what my issues are, and we're going to get into that as we more dive into the dot stuff. But if there are things to be debunked, and if I'm wrong about something, I like to clear it up, like hold a person accountable for what they did, not what they didn't do. And what we're going to, like I said, get more into that with the dot stuff, because that's really even what my purpose was going through these messages. Wasn't so much to look at what Steve was saying, but the issue I had was information that was being relayed back to the victim's family. And so you're at this point talking with Steve. It went from sharing with him the Mad Greek stuff. And then it just evolved into a conversation that was back and forth. Here's a little bit of information I found out. Here's a little bit of information he found out, back and forth. And how long were you talking to Steve before Dot came into the picture?
Not that long. Steve and I had just, oh gosh, if you went back to the message, Steve and I had just shared with the Mad Greek stuff. Well, I take that back because I got the footage. I got the footage July 9th, because that's when I leaked footage, on July 9th. And Dot came around July, I think it was the night of the 10th, but past midnight, it was technically July 11th. Okay. And this was right after I leaked footage. I remind you. And I think
what footage for anybody who may not be aware? And thank you, Maria. Maria says the truth being revealed. Finally, well done, Brat.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so July 9th, I leaked pretty much all of it except for the 1112 screen grab. I never posted that. I did share that in Rory's live later on, but I never posted that. I leaked the 3 kids walking in. I just had a screen grab of it, as all you guys have seen the messages.
Yeah, where you thought they were wearing masks. I cracked up at you. I think you were crazy.
It literally looked like a white mask. Listen, okay. I wasn't
the screen mask.
I wasn't paranoid then yet. Okay. It doesn't count. No, but really, truly, I couldn't tell because his neck looks tan, and it looks like he's like, I didn't know if they came back from like a party, like a theme party, right? This was like right after Halloween. I'm serious.
See, those are one of the things that to me, I was like, I was mad when I saw that, because in my mind, I'm like, this just looks like a distorted kid's face that's like on like a still grainy grab. And so I'm like, you're saying to Steve, I think people are wearing masks, and I asked you about it privately, and this was your exact reaction, was it looks like that. And so I just don't agree. But
he's wearing a white, the saw mask with the red thing.
Yeah.
I'm
Jigsaw.
sorry.
Wait, what's his name?
Jigsaw. We pulled it up.
We pulled it up because I thought you were crazy. Honestly, I was like, what?
It's just because of the white face. The face looks so much whiter than his neck, and it just like looked like because it was all blurry and stuff. Listen. Anyway, that's why I said, my bad. I'm sorry. I still literally look at it and see the Jigsaw face, but whatever. Okay. So I posted that, and the guy walking with the garbage can, the dumpster. Mm-hmm. And I think that's all I posted. Sorry, I'm having to go back in time. I should be up on my game, but it's been a long time, y'all. I think that's all I posted on July 9th. And I asked him, I was like, hey, is this public? Is this public information? And he was like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, can I post on TT? He's like, what's TT? And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm Brat Norton on there. Like, I told him point blank.
So did Steve ever follow your page, or was he kind of communicating with you to the point where he wasn't really aware of what you were posting?
Well, listen, I have thought about that since. I always thought, no way is he on here watching all this stuff, because he even says further on, he goes, oh, we can't have TikTok on government phones. And he said he didn't know who I was or what I posted. And I even kind of was like, ooh, like I'm conspiracy. Like, oh God, I thought you saw my stuff, Excuse me. And he claims no. But thinking back, I'm like, well, how did you know about the Mad Greek stuff? Or did someone just tell you that? I don't know. I have no idea. Is my answer. I don't know. But so that was July 9th. And then July, it was like the night of the 10th, but it was like past midnight. So it was like technically the 11th. Someone had come into my lives. I know I've sent you all those screenshots. I don't know if you guys pull those up, but Dot came into my live on TikTok and just said very just casual things. It wasn't anything crazy. It
So
wasn't
she
like
came into your TikTok live chat.
live,
And
yeah.
what kind of things was she saying?
Oh my gosh, just that. Oh God, girl, it's been so long. Very just casual stuff. Like I think there was like it's about rugs, which I obviously personally I was very vested in like the rug side of things when it you guys know, sorry, rug, y'all know what I mean. TikTok world, rugs. Just had said that oh my gosh, that there was someone in the backyard. But that came like at the very end. There wasn't anything that was like, whoa. It was just regular old stuff that like everyone else was saying. Like it's about rugs and like it was a party house, things like that. I don't know. Do you have this screenshot? Should we pull them up? I have them if you go.
You could shoot them back over to me and I'll pull them up.
Okay, hold on. I have them like literally.
I don't have my pen.
I'm just because now you're asking and now I'm like, oh God, I don't even remember. It was been so long.
No, it's fine. It's easy for me to pull them up if you have them ready to go.
Yeah.
Mods, are you guys doing okay? Do you guys need me to slow chat down a bit? Just let me know. Which again, everybody be respectful. Don't take your personal beefs out with each other here. There's people going to be from one side. There's going to be people from another side. Focus on what the topic is on panel. Don't give my mods an issue, please. Okay.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, you could go for it. As long as you're not going to share anything that puts out somebody's private stuff, then
no, it's just I got a whole folder full of
then
all.
Please do.
Okay, hold on.
You do present. Well, are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Then no. You have to do it from a laptop.
Oh crap. Okay. Okay. Here, can I just shoot you over a couple and you're on text?
Yeah.
That work? Okay.
Yeah. Shoot me as many as you want. It takes me a second to pull them up.
I can also read them out loud. And these might be out of order because I was just taking like do.
Are these comments from your live TikTok chat when first came in?
Oh yeah. This is the very first night. They're dated. They're at 1:28 a.m. Can you hear me? Because I can read those. They all helped each other. They did know the Brent guy. He was friends with another guy at the apartment. Yeah, he does. They all smoke together. Brent was obsessed with Bethany, but really liked Bethany. It was all kind of about Brent and Bethany now that I'm like reading these. He hit on me before I ignored him. Again, we didn't know who this person was, obviously, but like this was just it was so random. Bethany wasn't there that night, which Brian was doing rugs with Brent, and he used that KNIFE to cut the C word, you know what I mean? Things like that, which we had already heard from that article or from Brian's sister. Okay, hold on, I'm sending them to you. I'm just downloading. They're all on my cloud. Hold on.
You're fine. You guys, the chat's going. I just put 10-second slow mode on, but the chat's going too fast for me to pay attention. But if I see my mods having to say this multiple times, you're going to end up getting removed. And we don't want to remove anyone. So if you do not like somebody in the chat, block them. Block them. But don't engage because you're going to end up getting removed just so it doesn't get derailed. Okay? You don't have to agree. Be respectful. That's what I'm asking of you. But don't make my mod's job hard, okay?
She got the loan on a car. They kept talking about the car. I mean, it wasn't anything like mind-blowing, which is I think why it was I don't know. We all were just intrigued, I guess you could say. Perfect. There were rugs involved. I mean, it just wasn't that wild. And to be honest with you, like we were all kind of just watching this one person and watching what they say, but I don't think anyone took it that seriously like that night until they kept coming back.
Okay. So initially when she came in, when they came in, it wasn't a crazy narrative. It was, but did she drop this night? Did she mention, did they mention seeing anything or
I'm reading
having
right now.
any type of involvement?
It says we were on the end of the apartment near the house. Hold on, what does this one say? It says my friend has her Instagram live from that night. She's afraid to come forward. And also, I want to point out, after this night, you know, my friend 716 girl in ATL, she reached out to her. So I had no involvement in like talking to Dot as far as like the initial point of contact. My friend Cindy reached out to Dot. They had spoken, and then I was like, oh my God, you're talking to Dot? Like, is it real? What's going on? And like, yo, I want in on this. Like, what's happening? Like, does this person know something? And so that's when I then started talking to Dot myself, or we actually three-wayed for like the first handful of conversations.
This was you and another friend? Sorry, I was.
Yes, this is me and 716 girl in ATL. No, what I'm sending you is my live that night, and Dot is the little globe with the dot. That's why I called them Dot. If you've seen the screenshots.
Oh, well, that's good. So, just for anybody who doesn't know, the reason that we refer to them as Dot is because that's how you first referred to them, simply because they had no photo versus a single dot.
Yep. That is why I said, what do you want me to call you? And they were like, and they just, I don't know. I don't think they ever said anything. And I just said, can I call you Dot? Because their little username was a literal dot. That's why I said, okay, we're going to call you Dot. That's how that whole thing got started.
And I have some of these screenshots here. So let's take a look at them. So this is going to be different, you guys, because this is not YouTube. This is TikTok. And so what you're seeing is the comments scroll up from bottom to top for anybody who's not familiar. And so Dot comes in, and which one is the Dot?
Okay, so see, like right there you go, the dot, the literal dot with the globe. The literal dot. Yep, that's right there. With the globe, the Earth globe. See other dot user. Yeah, that's them, the Dot. Yeah, go. Never seen him around.
Is that not a bumblebee?
Girl, and you're saying you're giving me shit about the mask and the it's a
But
globe.
that's all right. You know,
It's a globe.
I'll just roll with it. It's a globe.
Yeah, it's like the world, like a globe. Like it was like an Earth.
Oh, never mind. I see it. Okay. All right. So they came in and they were like, nobody knew Brian, never heard of him. We were all shocked, never seen him around. So immediately Dot is taking on the persona of somebody who was there. We, like, those words stick out to me. We this, we that, as if they are part of this and they have experienced something.
Yeah.
So then we have Dylan was bad into schmugs with her boyfriend. They were in trouble. So immediately right off the bat, and this is the issue that I have with this type of stuff. It's not that you can't speculate, but it's the people who come in, who put things out as fact, and everybody remembers the accusation. Nobody remembers the retraction. And so immediately right off the bat, Dot is coming in to your live chat in a way where she has information and immediately putting this narrative out about Dylan, which we all have questions with Dylan. Questions that very well may be fully answered come trial. You know, they're just questions. But coming out and making people where we already have questions, and then again, we're starving for some answers, and it's somebody coming over with like a big juicy turkey leg and it's like wiggling it in your face. Of course, people are going to want to take a bite, in my opinion, because they're desperate for that. And so this is a big issue surrounding these cases.
I think that this is just my personal opinion, but I think that Dot was definitely sent to me. I think Dot may have tried to give their story to other people because I was told that this story was the same as someone else's niece's story and that they gave it to a handful of other creators. And I personally, that's kind of what I've always been after, is who heard this story and said, oh, we don't believe you, haha, troll, but Brat will believe you. And then they came in with all of the drug commentary, which they knew that I believed. I mean, I do still question
So you have a theory that is surrounding potential drugs being involved in this quadruple homicide. So when Dot came in, and we'll get a little bit more into where did Dot come from, who is she? But at this point, you feel like Dot is coming into your chat and she's appeasing already a theory in your mind that you're working with. So it stood out to you.
Looking back. And yeah, someone said I'm gullible. I would, well, keep going. I'll get to it.
Okay.
You can call me gullible, but the thing is that this person had a story that was like no other, and it didn't just include the Idaho 4. It got really deep. It got serious regarding trafficking and rugs, and we were on the phone with them until 5 a.m. every single night. It got to the point where I was calling the FBI regardless of who the fuck they were, and I didn't care. I wanted them to get away from me. And character, I never said I vetted Dot. There were things that I asked Steve, okay, on the phone. We spoke twice, and I'm sorry there's no receipts of this, but there actually is. He says in the messages with Steve, he says, and we talked to the neighbor that morning, and she had a crazy story. What he's referring to is when Steve and I talked on the phone, I told him enough about Dot, unfortunately, okay? It is what it is. And I was like, listen, this person claims to have seen people in the backyard. Because that's all it was. It wasn't this story. It wasn't this like crazy, like lavish story. It was like that she was a neighbor and she saw people outside in the backyard at like 8 a.m. And
well, yeah, we'll get into that, you know.
Right. But Steve had told me that he got a phone call that morning at 10:30 a.m. Okay. And that somebody was screaming their head off about somebody hiding in the woods. That's what he told me.
Steve told you that he got a phone call at 10 a.m. on the 13th?
10:30, yes. 10:30 that morning before they knew anything, that someone was screaming their head off about someone in the woods, back in the woods. So when Dot is telling me that there's people in the backyard, and then I'm talking to Steve about this shit, and he says that, I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is me being like, oh shit. That is how I really, after he said that, I was like, because I don't know. And then when this person's saying that they have people that were standing in the backyard, it wasn't some like crazy freaking thing, because we knew that there were people there before police arrived. So to me, it wasn't like that crazy. It got crazier, and the story went on, and they added to the story, and then all this crazy stuff happened.
Yeah,
but
and we'll get into that.
It wasn't that like crazy at first. I mean, it wasn't so crazy.
Right. But I just want to correct Pink Unicorn.
Yeah.
No, we all didn't. I knew Dot was bullshit from the moment she came out. So, and me and Brat had spoken about this because, you know, I even said to you, I was like, it's mind blowing to me that you could have ever believed it. And you were like, why? I'm like, because to me, it is beyond obvious that this is not legit. It is beyond obvious. Now, again, this is her opportunity to share what we didn't see, you know, because I'm only looking at it from a public perspective and what I can see unfold. And she wants to take us into what was happening privately. At least you could understand a little bit of where my mentality was at because of what I was being told and what was happening behind the scenes. And that's what tonight's for. But I never believe, so please don't say we all, because we all did not. So I don't know if you're talking about a specific group of people, but we all most definitely did not, because here in my community, we knew immediately this was bullshit and we were calling it out from the beginning. But you want to know what's terrifying? People still believe Dot. And people are still giving Dot a platform. And people are still, despite Dot on this panel saying, I never had any involvement, are still saying, you know what, I think there's some truth to what Dot is saying. Kim and some other creators. But we'll get into all of that, you know. And my opinions are my opinions only, not necessarily shared with everybody on the panel. But those are my opinions. But definitely not we all. So initially they came in. And they're saying that, you know, these comments at the beginning, it was not crazy. That's something that you definitely shared to me. In the beginning, it wasn't a big, crazy, deep rabbit hole that it eventually turned into. It was simple, right?
Well, and that I didn't necessarily believe it either. I mean, people don't understand what all I went through and how I talked to Steve, and Steve saying things like that. And then there was only like, look, Dot only occurred for like 4 weeks. Okay. And one of those weeks they were being outed. for the first 2 weeks, it was me and Cindy saying, we can't verify this person. We don't know who they are. They won't give us any of their information. And we didn't know what to fucking do. But then it was like, then we were all out of sleep. They would keep us up on the phone. It was this like, just this kind of basic story. And we're like, we don't know how to help you. Like, go to Ann Taylor. So then they sent us back an email because I was like done with them. Like, I was like, I'm not your person. Like, go to the LE. Go to the FBI. Like, we were trying to get them to like tell their story to somebody else. This wasn't like, ooh, we have this story and whatever. It was really when the story got really out of hand one night, and I called Kim, and we called the FBI on the phone, or she said she called the FBI on the phone.
Yeah, that's jumping.
And I called my cop, and they called the FBI, and I called the FBI the entire next day, and I told Dot this. Like, this was all occurring. They knew this was occurring. And they were like, oh, what are they going to do to me? What are they going to do to me? I'm like, it's going to be okay. That is, after that, that's when I really believed on. Because I'm like, who the hell would sit on the phone with the freaking FBI? I'm calling my own police department just to get a record of it. If you guys don't believe me, fucking, you guys know where I live. Go pull the records, okay? There's back-to-back videos of me losing my fucking mind with the cop standing in front of me. I mean, I look disgusting, horrible. My face is breaking out. I haven't slept. My parents came over the next day, okay? Like, it was a whole thing. This person didn't just talk about the Idaho 4. They got into trafficking, children shit. It went crazy for like a couple nights, and I didn't know what to do. And at that point, I mean, when we're like, I'm calling the FBI, and they were like, okay, what are they got? With a 3-way with the FBI? I mean, that's when I was like, well, who the hell would do that?
Right. Okay, so but let's pull back. Let's pull back though. Let's pull back for timeline format. And I appreciate everything you're saying, and I want to hear it all.
Yeah.
But at this point, they come in. They're saying they all helped each other.
A lot of random shit.
This isn't me, MJ, but you know, they did not know that Brent guy. So he's speaking for what I'm assuming is the victims and Dylan and Bethany, correct?
We didn't really know. We were just watching them post all these comments. We're just like, oh, what next? What next? Like, we didn't really know what they were talking about, to be honest, because they were all really random. This is how it went. I mean, they were all just really random. But you know, some of the stuff you'll recognize. Like it's stuff like with the Brent and BK doing, you know what, together in the car. Like that obviously got from an article, whatever.
Right. And so they are saying he was friends with another guy from the apartment. So Dot at this point is talking as if they have all the information. Yes, he does. They all smoke together. Brent was obsessed with Bethany. He tried to date her, but she wasn't having it. At this point, he is referring to Brent Kopacka, a deceased veteran who, you know, if you want to think that it was suspicious circumstances, that is totally fine. I don't personally believe that it had any, you're naked, Shay. I don't think it has any association to the quadruple homicide, but the issue is Dot is coming in and speaking as fact, not I heard, I believe, I'm speculating, posting this as if it is information that they know for certain, a big issue we see surrounding this case particularly. But really liked Bethany, meaning Brent. He hit on me before I always ignored him. Was this about Brent? So Brent hit, which this is, sorry, but this is the Kimbleweed effect, where all of a sudden, as time goes on, these people directly have involvement with every damn person in the case that gets brought up. So now Brent, who really is not part of the case at all, has no association to the case. You could speculate, but has no actual association to the case. And now not only is Dot, which you're going to hear, directly involved in witnessing something with the murders, but also Brent happened to hit on them too. Interesting how that works.
Yeah, I'm giving it to you. I mean, I know looking back, it seems so fake. Y'all, this is embarrassing. This is not like, oh, I'm trying to like clear my name. This is real life. This is what I went through. I was new. Like yeah, looking back at some of the stuff, I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like now I know, you know, but also too, these things were just flying and then fast forward, you know, I didn't look back on every little one thing that they said. I was really just not in the right headspace. I don't know. I don't know if it's a tactic to keep someone up all night, every night, to lose sleep, to take all their time. I don't know if that's what they do, but man, it worked. I'm telling you, I just felt like I was losing my freaking mind.
Yeah, and what we're going to discuss that because I think it's important. But they're saying Bethany wasn't there that night. I know for a fact. So do you see how this word choice, all right?
Yeah.
I know for a fact Bethany wasn't there that night. You could have questions regarding Bethany and Dylan. I have questions.
Yeah.
But these are real people, and the wrath of the internet is nasty. And all of these people who are listening to this stuff they run with the shit that these people say, and they do reach out to them, and they reach out in their real lives, and they reach out to their jobs, everything. And so you have Mindy telling you to pull out. I don't know what's the problem, but okay. Thank you, Mindy. But you're free to leave whenever you want. I'm not holding you hostage, but
I'm here for the long haul.
Awesome. Well, and I appreciate it. But again, not everybody's going to agree. It's as simple as that. But stating this as fact is what I've always taken the issue with. It's, because that's what I've noticed regarding the Idaho trolls, as I refer to them as, but not putting it out as, okay, this is what I heard. This is what I believe. It's Bethany wasn't there that night. I know for a fact. And this is what contributed to a lot of the conspiracies building up and misinformation being spread.
Yep.
Okay. So then you wrote, Brian wasn't doing, well, not you, I'm sorry. Dot wrote, Brian wasn't doing rugs with Brett that night in Brian's car. Brett used Brian's knife to cut smoke, So again, commenting as if they have direct knowledge and information of what happened the night of the murders, okay? The night of the murders. My friend has her Instagram live that night, which I think we hear this being brought up in the messages between you and Steve, right? You referred to this. So I definitely want to hear about that. But she's afraid to come forward. This friend is afraid to come forward.
But again, at the time too, you have to understand, we didn't know any of the story. Like there was no story yet. You know what I mean? So these are just random comments like this. You know what I'm saying? You have to it's really hard to go back in time and put yourself in the mindset, but it's you have to try and pretend that you don't know any of what you know now, and just seeing these random comments. Of course, we're like, what? Who is this? What is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So now that we have the context of when Dot first entered your arena, how did you then start to speak to Dot in direct communication?
Cindy talked to her first. And she was like, hey, I talked to Dot for an hour last night. And X, Y, and Z, kind of the things that they were saying in this. Again, I don't know if there was even a story yet. And that Cindy wanted to keep talking to her. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I want in on this, who is this person? What do they know? I was curious. So we three-way called. Dot had Cindy's information, and then they three-wayed me, and we talked like that. And then I gave Dot my phone number, and they would call us on unknown or whatever, a blocked number. And then we just started talking on three-way for a little bit. And and Cindy will tell you, I was very hesitant. There were a lot of things that were red flags to me. There were 100%. There were absolutely.
What makes you feel like you looked the other way from the red flags?
Calling the FBI.
And that came later though, right?
2 weeks later. Yeah. But for the first couple weeks, we didn't say anything about it. Everyone's like, where's Dot? How's Dot? Whatever with Dot. And we were just like, we don't know. We don't know their identity. Everyone likes to say, we verified her or whatever. That's not what I said. I said, I've tried to verify some things. Okay. But they sent us a botched friggin' Ann Taylor email, but then they sent us the car burning video, and that car burning video.
So first, because when Dot came, what was the initial narrative that she told you?
That they were a neighbor they lived in those apartments next door, Queen Road apartments, and that they were outside, they were partying, and that the next morning they had gotten up and they walked outside to smoke a cigarette, and they peeked over the balcony or whatever and saw people in the backyard.
So it wasn't that extreme.
No, that was it. It wasn't even Emma Bailey and Demetrius for probably like another handful of freaking days. Of course.
And so hearing that, at that point, had Steve already told you about the 10 to 10:30 a.m. call?
No, I had not talked to Steve at all. So when I started talking to Steve is like mid to end July. That is after I tried calling the FBI. I did not bring Dot to Steve until after I called the FBI and nobody would freaking answer. And then I was like, bro, like, I don't know what to do. I have to tell you about this in case this is real. Like, on the rare opportunity that this shit is real, somebody has to take this, and it can't be me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with this piece of information, right? If it's real, if it's not real, it's not mine to bet. Somebody needs to take this. And that is why I told him about it. I'm like, do you have an FBI guy? Please have them look into this person. I don't know. Here you go.
So, when Dot first gave you that first narrative, and I'm slowing the chat down again, you guys, no need to, like, I really don't get it. No need to fight. If there's people in the chat that you do not like, just ignore them. But just chill out. I don't know why there has to be this back and forth. We could all communicate respectfully. We don't have to agree. Just ignore somebody if you don't like them. It's that simple. Jeez, I want everyone to be here. I want people who do not agree with me to be here. I want people who don't agree with Brat to be here. I want people who agree with us both to be here. Everyone's opinion's welcome. Just stop with the fighting in the chat. It's so simple.
I told you. I was
It's
like,
a little bit of chaos.
All my haters up in there tonight.
Well, but no, there's people that support you too, and people who don't like the other side. And it's just, be nice, you guys. It's not about you guys in the chat. Holy crap. If this is about getting all sides here, then shut up and listen. Stop focusing so much on the chat. All right. So, initially, it didn't seem so crazy to you.
No.
There were a couple of red flags.
There were. The way that they were acting. We thought that they had a drug issue. We did.
Okay.
Cindy and I, it was very apparent at night. They would be normal and they kind of go off this, they would, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know. A lot of people have seen it on TikTok. They're like normal for a second, then they, and we were like, crap, this person has a rug issue as well. And this is not good, because we were like, because they would just go off on all these other things about their life. I mean, it wasn't like we just talked about this random story. It was like they would talk about their family and like their life and their degrees and all these other things.
So when did it take a shift? So at this point, you're speaking to Dot privately. Dot is interacting with other creators. This is both now TikTok and YouTube. Like,
just Cindy. I mean, as far as we knew, just Cindy and I. I mean, I can't say who else they talked to because I don't know. But as far as we were concerned, just Cindy and I. I mean, again, I don't know. Cindy and I were kind of taking turns because this person would call us every night. If we didn't answer, they would be very mad at us. Like we betrayed them and all these things. And this person, sorry, let me rewind. Part of their story was that they, were deep into the rug world and that they had escaped all this and they had moved back home and that they were trying to get clean and like their personal shit. So we got this little story in Idaho, and then we have that they've moved away because we're like, well, do you still live there? Because I hounded them. I mean, I hounded them a couple times and they're like, no, I've left. I've since moved away, yada, yada, yada. So we're like, okay, they're no longer there. Like they can't prove anything with that. We were trying to figure out information that we could get to like verify them. And they just,
so did you try to vet them? Like what was that process?
Yes. But there were runarounds every time. And that's when I got red flags. And
so you said a botched email with Ann. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So I said, you need to email Ann Taylor or I'm fucking out. I'm like, I need to see proof, because they had said that they called Ann Taylor, they got a meeting with her, and that they were going to talk to her. And I was like, perfect, good. My hands are clean. See you later. Bye. And they were like, wait, hold on. It started to become apparent that they just wanted my time, Cindy's time, and her. That's when I started to be like, okay, like this is not normal. But again, I believed them and I didn't. Like everyone wants to say like I believed everything. I didn't like fully believe them until after I called the FBI. I want to make that very freaking clear. I was and Cindy will tell you this, I was very wishy-washy. There were things that I was like, I don't know about this. And like, for example, I offered them money. They didn't take it. And I figured, okay, then maybe it's not a scam. You know, I'm thinking, why would this person do all this? Why would they make this up? And I guess being new to this side of the internet, especially TikTok. I mean, I've been on Instagram and Facebook for years. Maybe it's the whole true crime thing. I don't know. But I have never in my life experienced people who just blatantly lie about being or seeing something with an actual quadruple homicide.
They do.
Well, I didn't know that. And truly. And I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But also, eventually, I was like, you need to tell LE. You need to go to Ann Taylor. So basically, I was like, I'm not talking to you until you talk to Ann Taylor or go to LE or something, right? And so I didn't talk to them for a couple of days. And then they came back and they had sent me this like botched freaking screenshot of Ann Taylor's with Ann Taylor's blurred out email. And I'm like, I'm gonna need that unredacted. And
Ann Taylor's blurred out email?
Yeah, they sent me, I still have it somewhere. They sent me like a screenshot of like an email, like of them confirming like a time that they were meeting, and they like blurred out half of Ann Taylor's email. And I could tell it was fucking, I was like, yeah. I'm going to do that unredacted. And that's when I was really, I was done. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm fucking done. This person's lying. And then they tried to attempt sewer slide. That's when they pulled their fake unaliving. And then Cindy had sent them money. I want to clarify something. On PayPal, and I don't even know if it was PayPal. I've never seen it. Till this day, Cindy has never sent it to me. If they did, I probably would have been a little smart to like dig into that. But again, you guys, at this point, we were no sleep. This person was keeping us up all night with their personal shit. It wasn't.
That was very demanding. So it no longer was talking to her. As far as information coming in, it became a very codependent relationship where she is calling you throughout the night hours about things beyond this case, correct?
Yes, their own rug use.
You don't have to get into specifics, yeah.
I mean, I sat on the phone what I thought they were going to do something for money, and I had to hear some very fucking inappropriate things on the phone, okay?
Yeah.
And yes, I've recorded all of this. And because I was losing my mind. Like I was like, get me the fuck out of this shit. Like this is just not regardless of whoever this person is, whatever information they have, like I was done with it. And that's when Cindy sent them money for an Uber or something. I think she got them an Uber. I don't know. I was not involved with that. I said I would never send them money. I offered once just to see what they would say, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is like a scam for money. Like where's the angle to all of this stuff? Cindy had sent them, I guess, PayPal or CashApp. I don't know.
This is actually the receipt that, if you guys remember, I had Dot on panel, and Dot pushed a narrative that you had paid Dot to spread disinformation.
I paid Dot a single fucking dime, and it was $7, I believe, from Cindy, which I later got in an email. But Riley asked me for that, and I didn't even have it. I still don't have it. I've never seen it. I never
showed it. I do have it, but let me be clear. I even gave Dot the opportunity to send receipts, trying to give everybody the opportunity to share their side. And the receipts that Dot did send were about 5 out of context screenshots, none of their own interactions, and one was a PayPal receipt. And I said, well, this isn't even from Brat. This is a different name. And they said, well, yeah, but this is like Brat's associate. And so I did clear that up when I did find out that there was one payment that was made. It was, I think, about $7 for like an Uber ride. But as far as I know, because Cindy did come over into my comments, and she's like, I've tried to separate from this and move on, and I won't, so as far as I know, it was a lesson learned, and she's trying to have absolutely nothing to do with Dot, because unfortunately it's a sad realization to come to terms with, that people are willing to lie about something as severe as this. And as you're relaying, it seems like it got very dark on those private phone calls with Dot.
I had to listen to somebody, I don't know if it's Dot, but I had to listen to somebody having.
Yeah, you don't even need to. It very inappropriate. So when did the narrative switch
Guys,
from
the chat's asking a timeline of where we're at right now in the timeline.
We're probably mid-July.
Okay.
mid-July?
Because this is when it all fucking blew up. Because the last week of July was when they went on, like right before August 1st. I believe they were outed on August 1st to 2nd, or my live was on the 1st. Rory's live, I think, was on the 1st. I'm only doing this from memory, y'all. I'm sorry, I could go grab receipts. I believe that was like all on the 1st. I believe it was like the 30th to the 1st, or the 2nd. The 1st to the 2nd is when they went on my live and showed their face. And it was a couple days before that. They had gone on a couple of lives on YouTube, I think, with CJ and then Rory.
Yeah, and we've gone over that, you guys, for anybody who's been here for this. We watched Dot go over to Rory's channel. I think, were you on that once? I remember there was one panel you were on. I'm not sure if that's the one that you were on.
I
and
was
then
not
went over
on
to Evil CJ's.
of those. No, Riley.
Then it may have been like a Kim one. I'm not sure.
Oh, I've
She
been
was
on
that other one.
but that
Forgot that one.
Okay.
God, probably June or July, early July. Not we. I yeah, no. So okay. So we're probably, God, and I could go find. I'm sorry about the date, y'all. We're probably in mid going towards end of July, because this is when it all blew up. And
when did you first introduce Dot to Steve? Was that before the narrative changed or after the narrative changed?
Well, what do you mean introduce? I never
like when did you first, in your messaging with Steve, when did Dot first become a subject? Was it when her narrative was still, I was just a neighbor and I saw X, Y, and Z outside?
No. So I'm getting there. So we're probably mid-July. I'm like, email Ann Taylor, because they said they had tried to speak with Ann Taylor, whatever, and I was like, I need a receipt of it. They sent me some botched receipt. Okay. I think the fire video came before or after that with their car burning, which, to be honest with you.
So what was the car burning narrative? Yeah,
well,
what did they say?
That the drug people that was following them or whatever, they're scared for their life, and they were like, they set their car on fire to send them a warning, which I know, you guys, I know it sounds ridiculous, but listening to the video and hearing Dot's voice in it and looking at their fucking car, I'm like, oh, so you feel
like you're really caught up at this point, and hindsight, you can see it looks ridiculous, but at the time it felt very real for you. Very,
very real. And like I said, if no one believes me, I'm happy to pull the body cam footage.
It's your side, yeah. Well, and people are.
You will be able to tell I was losing my freaking mind.
And we'll get to that part when that happens.
An embarrassing video of me,
because you told me, yeah, I could pull it if I want.
But you'll see. No one would question me then. It's that real for me. But okay, but hold on. That didn't come until So it was like the car burning video, the Ann Taylor email. Sorry, I'm trying to do this from memory.
You're fine.
And then Cindy. That's when I was like, nah, I need an unredacted version of that email. Like, you're not about to redact shit with me. And then that's when I was like, I'm freaking done. I'm out. And they got mad. And that's when they faked their unaliving. Okay. And then they were at a trap house or whatever. And that's when Cindy sent them money because they were like stuck and whatever. Or sorry, they didn't fake their unaliving first. They were at a trap house and needed help. And somebody was messaging us from their TikTok account. And that's when I got freaked out, because I'm like, yo, how are you on this TikTok account? Like, how do you know about Dot? And they're pretending to be somebody else. And I knew that. And I told Cindy, I said, no, they're fucking with us.
And you showed me those messages.
Yes. I'm like, they're fucking with us. And I was like, I'm pissed. And that's when I was like, I'm freaking out. I'm done. Like, they're faking this shit. They're full of shit. No, this is bullshit. And she sent them money. I don't know. I think she just felt really bad. I don't know. This person obviously has an issue, whether it's mental, whether it's abuse, substance abuse. I don't know. That's not for me to say. But you guys, if anyone's ever seen, if you know. And so I think she felt bad. So she sent them that. I never saw that. She had told me that she sent them an Uber ride. It was like $7 or something like that. And I was like, I don't know. And I was kind of out for a couple of days. And then that's when they faked their unaliving, and they pretended to die. And I was like, no, this person's effing with us. That is when it went in full freaking drive. And that is when I don't think I answered the phone for like a handful of days, to be honest with you. And I was done. Cindy and I just kind of were like, we're over this shit. And then that's when it went full overdrive. I answered the phone one night, and that's when this story got really deep, really bad.
Okay.
They were involved in the crime itself. They were
so Dot now all of a sudden evolved and said she was involved in the crime itself.
They were the driver. There's 3 of them that they actually did see the injuries themselves. I freaked out. Nobody was answering. Kim, I knew, had an FBI contact. I called Kim. I'm like, I'm 3-waying Kim. Kim was like, okay. And Kim was on the phone with me the whole time. And Kim heard it all. And we were
you're on a 3-way call with
yeah.
Kim and Dot. Did Kim and Dot ever have any communication prior to you putting them in communication?
Not that I'm aware of.
That you're aware of. So it was this same night that, how did you put them in communication?
Basically, I was like, I'm calling Kim.
Okay.
Yeah, Kim knew at this point, because I was freaking the hell out. You've seen the screen recording. I thought I was recording. I don't know why. I'm an idiot. And I was like screen recording, thinking it was like recording the sound, even though
the iPhone won't record a call.
I know, but
all my
recordings are on my freaking computer. I don't know why I didn't just grab my computer, but I was like screen recording for whatever freaking reason. I'm an idiot, and I was all worked up. And I'm like, I'm getting Kim on the phone so you can see I'm freaking out. I'm texting Luna, Alyssa, I'm texting Rory, and I'm freaking out.
And she showed me this, you guys. So again, like if we're going very fast, at this point, she is on a 3-way call between Dot and Kim. I've seen it. I've seen that they're actively on a call.
I thought you were going to hear it. I'm an idiot. Literally.
It's it's okay. And she's navigating through her phone. And so she's texting people. And so you could get even though you can't hear the call, you could get a context of what they're talking about, because Brat is messaging. Oh my God, this, she just said X, Y, and Z. Oh my God, she just said this. Oh my God, we're calling the FBI. So much to where you watch her leave her text messaging app, and she does go into her Safari. We giggled about it at the time because but it showed how much you clearly believed it, because you were Googling a 24/7 FBI hotline to call. You just knew what you were hearing was concerning enough that you wanted to get this to the FBI as quick as possible.
There was a conversation about getting offered money to grab a child. There was a payment, a platform. There were things that were now this person knows way too much about that stuff. And it was not
very dark.
It got very dark. I mean, Kim and I, and even Dot, were all crying together. I mean, it was ridiculous. I know. And I giggle because I was Googling like FBI answer now, FBI 24/7. Like I was like, and that's why I got Kim on the phone, because she's the only one I knew that had said that they had an FBI contact, and I wasn't about to bring this to Steve at friggin' 4:00 in the morning, but I just was like, I can't do this. Like somebody else, like this is not my realm. This was about children and rugs and the crime itself, and some platform called oh my God, starts with a Q. Oh my God, they even said there was a payment on, oh my God, what is it? Not Quaker.
Oh, you're talking about
the platform.
Remember, you told me, yeah.
There was a platform, like there was too many freaking specifics that involved other things that scared the living hell out of me. Still do. They still do. That's why I don't really talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, I brought up Dot on my lives and things like that, but this is really nothing. I look, I know. Yeah. There was too many things. Oh my God, what is the platform called though?
You told me, and it's at the top of my head,
Quaker,
but I forgot.
Like Quaker, but it's not called Quaker.
It's not Quaker though. It's
Wicker, something like that. The mod.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, so and I was typing that to Rory and Alyssa. I'm like, somebody, like, this is way too far. I mean, I was bawling my eyes out. Kim said, okay, she'll contact her FBI person. So we're still on three-way. So Kim 3 ways off or whatever. I'm assuming she's on the other line calling FBI. Kim is leaving me here for 25 minutes with this person while Dot is
So you're on the 3-way with Kim and Dot.
Yeah.
This just got very, very real quickly.
Yeah.
And please correct me if I'm wrong with anything. Dot is now saying to be directly involved with the murders itself. So it started as, I was a neighbor. I went out to smoke a cigarette in the morning of, and I saw them all outside in the backyard smoking a J. Nothing crazy. To now I was the driver of the murderers.
And they went inside. They were describing the injuries. And I mean, when I tell you that this person describes things, I mean, you guys, if you know, they are very good at descriptive words and things and making things up on the spot. And now I know. But at the time, I'm like, they were describing the injuries, why, who, what, where, when, why, and all the things, like they were involved in it. And I mean, and I'm sitting here thinking we're calling the fucking FBI. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, what the fuck is happening in my life? Like, how did I get here? And that is why so sorry.
So
keep
Kim,
going.
no, you're fine. You're fine. So Kim at that point's like, she has an FBI contact. And so she's like, I'm going to go call them on the other line. But you never heard her allegedly calling that FBI contact.
No. No.
Did she ever come back on that call?
Yes, because I was freaking out and she was gone for like 25 minutes and I was like, oh my God, where are you? And so I 3-wayed her back in and she's like, they didn't answer. She says she left like a little something, I don't know, like a voice, something to call me back. I don't know. I don't know. She said that she left something for them to call her back. And that's all I knew. And I was like, okay. And then that's when I was like, Google. I don't know all the timeline of events that night. It's very blurry. All I know is that I was like, I have to get a hold of the FBI. But it basically ended up that night with me submitting. I did submit that FBI submission, and then I felt better about it. And Kim had said they call her back. But I remember the next day, we kind of just like ended it. I mean, it was already like I think 5 a.m, something like crazy like that. I don't know. It was really late, and I was like falling asleep at that point. And I don't think I really slept. And then I think, was it the next 2 nights that I called the cop? I think I called the cops.
So you called the cops. What had led you to calling the cops? And that's what you were referring to when you said, you guys, if you don't believe me, you could FOIA it. I mean, I looked like shit, but if you don't believe me, you could FOIA it.
By all means, it's very embarrassing. Please don't put it on the internet. It's so embarrassing, but yes, it's there. I called the cops because the next day I caught Luna up on it. Kim and we were all talking in a group chat about it, I believe. And I just was like, holy shit, this is real. Like, this is insane. Like after that, I believed them. They sat on the phone. We said we were calling the FBI. I told my submitted shit for the FBI. I mean, for them to still be like, okay, I mean, they weren't like, okay. They were like, what will they do to me? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I was like, I believed I did. And then the next day, the FBI, no one got back to any of us. And so I called my own FBI office here in Raleigh. They were like, ma'am, you're going to need to talk to like Quantico. Like, you're going to need to talk to the office. She said, I need to talk to the office that's dealing with a quadruple homicide. And so then I called Quantico. I tried calling, I guess, like Seattle. I think there's one. I called every freaking FBI office and the phone just rings and rings and rings and rings. And then that after 2 days, and then I brought the cops here that night because, again, there was another crazy night and they kind of perpetuated some of that story. And I couldn't deal. I couldn't fucking deal. I was so scared. I went to let my dog outside to go potty at 4:00 in the morning. We were ending the conversation. I don't think Dot was even on the phone at this point. I think I talked to them earlier that night, but I remember talking to Alyssa and Rabbit Hole. And again, guys, these are things for another time, okay? But I was friends with Luna. I talked to Rabbit Hole occasionally. She was more friends with Luna. Kim, I only had spoken to a handful of times with Rory on lives and whatnot, Dago, whatever. Like, the only person I was really good friends with was Luna. I didn't really like know the handful of anybody. Like, I'd only talked to Kim a handful of times, but I had her number. And when at that night I was like, are you fucking awake right now? Like, I need your FBI contact. Like, get on this fucking phone right now, and everyone at that point I'd heard about Dot and whatever. So anyway, the next night, I was letting my dog to go potty, and this is so embarrassing, but a black truck pulls up I was on the phone with Rabbit Hole, and then a black truck pulls up. It was like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I fucking lost my shit. I ran inside. I was shaking, screaming, and I called the cops. And Rabbit Hole actually called the cops, but she called. All my homes are in trust, so she actually called the cops, and they went to my parents' house at 4 o'clock in the morning that night. So I had the cops that came to my house, but Rabbit Hole found me and called the cops for me. But she was trying to call them from my house. But they ended up going to my parents' house. And my parents are now involved in all this bullshit. Anyway, so they came here because of a black truck pulled up. That's how
And see,
I was like so fucking scared. I mean, this person was talking about human trafficking and taking children and this rug world. And it was so much deeper than the Idaho 4. And it just scared the fuck out of me. It really did. It still does, to be honest.
And, and me and you had spoken about this because my belief was that you knowingly knew
Oh God, no.
Dot, wasn't legit while feeding back that information to Steve. Now, even if you believed it was, still feeding it back to Steve, it's a problem, right? And it's a lesson that needs to be learned, and because the impact over intent is still there. But this is definitely something that I didn't know at the time. And I think it, of course, damage is done, but I don't want to hold you accountable for knowing Dot wasn't, if you believe Dot was legit. And so when you're sharing these things with me, that you could FOIA this,
do it.
you could go and look for it. And I did watch as you showed me submitting the FBI tip, Googling FBI in the middle of the night. I do hit a little bit of a wall there because I'm like, all right, if you knew it wasn't legit, why would you have done these things? And so I was a bit surprised, because I don't think you would be submitting a tip or getting paranoid to the point where you're calling the cops because there's a suspicious car outside your house.
It's illegal to submit false things. I mean, I even till this day look back, till this day, I'm like, somebody needs to look into them. Like, that shit wasn't fake. I don't know. I don't know that night specifically what I'm talking about with the children and the wicker. Old wicker. That shit with that, I don't fucking know. Till this day, all I know is that this person made me so paranoid and out of my fucking mind, and they knew way too fucking much about that shit. That's what I do know. I don't know. I who knows? But but no, that's illegal. I mean, I got worried about that after the fact. I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker! Like, this is all fake. Like, who fakes this shit? Seriously. And no, I'll be embarrassed all freaking day long. If I can just look, I'm coming up here. It's embarrassing. I fucked up. I didn't verify things like I should. I was brand freaking new. I should have never believed any of the word that they said. Now looking back, it's laughable, but it's not. This is like a lesson that everyone should learn, because I'm sure there are other new creators like myself that just don't know. I didn't know all these things. I didn't know. People are like, you're a sleuth. I'm like, I never proclaimed to be a sleuth. You know what I mean? I just want to talk about the Idaho case, but and that's why with the whole Paramount thing, I was happy to go on there. I knew what they were going to use me as, and I was happy to do that because this happens. I did not know that. I did not know that people on the internet literally make up stories about being involved in fucking crimes like this. It's insanity to me, but now I guess I know, but no, this took a month of my life away, and it's super embarrassing, but also like, I didn't know that there were people like this on the internet.
Yeah.
Truly. It's wild to me. And now I have a good eye to like spot this stuff because I've been through all this now. But I just know, use my embarrassment, use my downfall as an example, if you will, because I learned, I didn't know. I didn't know.
And so one of the screenshots that I had shown back before we had spoken, that really led me to believe that you knew. I think it was Riley who first had posted it. It's like a compilation of messages, and it's you telling Dot to come into the chat and say blank is the DoorDash driver. So from my perspective, it looked like you knowingly knew
that
that.
was completely taken out of context. They told
Can
me
you
that
explain
Enoch
it?
Yeah, they told me that Enoch Harsh was a DoorDash driver. And at this time, everybody was like, ooh, where's Dot? Dot, dot, dot. And everyone was like, there was a lot of people that believed every little word that Dot said. So I was like, listen, I want to talk about Enoch Harsh possibly being the DoorDash driver. I kind of was like, that's not a bad freaking theory. But I didn't want them to come in and say it as Dot because everybody was like living on every word that Dot had said at that point. And I was like, just be somebody else and say it. Like, don't be Dot.
So
Because
that's where you're saying,
yes.
I'm going to use you as another source, but you can't use your voice because people will know it's Dot. It's you, like, right?
No, I think all I said was be somebody else. Don't be Dot because everyone was hanging on their every fucking word. I don't know. You can reread it. Everyone was hanging on their every freaking little word. And I was like, you can't say this as Dot because everyone will believe you.
Right.
I want to speculate on it.
So it says, let me ponder something we could do. Again, no one knows your voice, and I don't want anyone to know because they'll figure you out. And with a voice changer, it's so obvious, but no worries. I have some ideas in my mind about using you as another source, possibly for things like this. So at this point, you're referring to everybody hanging on Dot's every word. So you're trying to have somebody come in to push Einan possibly being the DoorDash driver, but not as Dot's account. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and read my messages because I don't know if that's all what I said. I remember being like, come in as not as Dot.
Yeah, and then I see Dot because it's like 3 screenshots like compiled into one. And then I see like Dot, if you want to come in the comments and say blank is DoorDash driver, laugh my ass off.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are we doing this? Please.
Yes.
And so even if like you believe Dot, do you think it was right to have somebody come in and say something as a source that you did not?
Oh my God, no.
I think that was wrong.
No, absolutely not. I take back everything that whole month. I mean, I was just not thinking clearly, and after calling the FBI, I really did believe that they had this information. You'll have to check the date on. I don't know when the date on that was.
I don't know. It might have the date.
Is the date on it?
July 24th.
Yeah, that was after calling the FBI.
Thank you, far away.
And that's at that point, I really did believe Dot. And yeah, no, but no, that's not cool. No.
Because like I said, that's definitely what led me to believe. I'm like, oh, you knew about it, but
oh God,
your version.
Guys, if I knew about it and I was in cahoots, don't you guys think you would have a million screenshots, like real actual ones of us planning this and us whatever? And I mean, come on, like there would be a lot of things that would have been out by now and whatever with me. And no, I mean, this is embarrassing as hell.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I don't know what the noise is.
Oh, my dog. I'm sorry. That's
no. Don't apologize. If it's a dog, then I love it.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry,
don't apologize for a dog. It's adorable.
I'll take him outside. Hold on.
No, don't. I do not mind the dog dancing. It's a dog. Please.
I'll sit here and pam the whole time.
Yeah. No, you're fine. Don't apologize for the dog.
But no, and I did. I wanted to talk about Enoch Harsh, and no, that was selfish. And no. I mean, the whole thing is.
And I appreciate you saying that because it's not about. Let me convince everyone how I didn't do anything. I respect accountability. I do. And so by you saying that was wrong and I shouldn't have done that, I respect that a lot better than trying to make excuses for it,
I shouldn't have ever perpetuated anything that they had said. I mean, they were coming into my lives. They would say what they wanted to say. All right, hold on. Wait, I got to make sure the frog isn't out there. Okay. The frog's
a frog?
Yeah, there's there's this little frog that hides in the corner, and when Sonoy's is like trying to get him. No, I mean, I should have never repeated or what I should have blocked them, to be honest with you, without being able to verify somebody and their information. I should have never let it carry on. And I didn't. I helped do that. And, and yes, despite my personal experience with it all, it sucks. It sucks. I didn't know what I was doing. I certainly didn't verify any them at all. We didn't even know their identity, you know. But not only that, I should have never let it carry on. I shouldn't have given it any attention or anything like that. I do think that it was intentionally sent to me. I do. I think that I had just started talking to Steve. There were a couple, well, there were really one person who knew that. And I just kind of always ponder if they were sent to me for that reason. Maybe they weren't. Maybe I'm just a fool. But, you know, I don't know. I was a new creator. I mean, I didn't really even have like a big following by any means. And it seems kind of odd to just stumble upon my page out of all the true crime creators. But, you know, again, that's what trolls do. They target people like me who are new and don't know any better. So you know.
when did the interaction happen with Steve where you started to, hey, I'm talking to somebody,
Right.
I don't remember your exact words, but you introduced Dot's story to Steve
right after the fact that I couldn't get a hold of the FBI? Then and you'll have to look, MJ, I'm sorry, and I'm not looking at the receipts, but
you're fine.
that literally from the time, I mean, you have the screen recordings from like, it was literally right after that, right after I couldn't get a hold of the FBI. That's when I reached out to Steve. And I was
So
like,
it was after Dot. It wasn't when Dot initially was the neighbor. It was after Dot said that they had involvement in these murders.
it was towards the, it was towards the end. Yeah, it was toward, well, no. Hold on.
Here, let me see if I can pull it up. I could probably pull it up.
Well, and I'm doing this out of memory. I had, when Dot had, after I was talking to Dot for a couple weeks, I had asked Steve on the phone, which I think was like July 18th, I want to say. I'm doing this from memory, girl. You got all my receipts. I'm like, you put the timeline together. No, I had asked him casually. I said, there's this person, they claimed to have some information, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was just like, hey, listen. And they're like, hey, and Steve was like, hey, can they get a picture of the apartment recently? Can they, whatever? I mean, he was pretty good at it. And I was like, no, and this and that, whatever. And they're giving me excuses, whatnot. So sorry. I had mentioned it to him, but I hadn't really, when you see like the crazedness, that was after we called the FBI. So I think I had mentioned it to him, but it was like nothing crazy. But it was after that, I was like, I need your FBI's number right now. Like, this shit is serious, and I need to talk to somebody. Someone needs to take this from me.
We saw you asking Steve desperately for his FBI contact because at that point you're saying the information Dot was putting forward, it desperately needed attention. And at that point you only had Kim get off the three-way call, say she called her contact, you submitted an FBI tip line, but you were desperately trying to get it to the authorities.
Yeah. Yes, because what I heard on the phone still should be looked at by the authorities. I've heard things since that needs to be looked at by the authorities. Okay. I'm just saying. And again, if they're lying, someone needs to tell them that that's not, that I don't know. Someone that, I don't know. I think what a lot of people don't know is that after all of this is said and done, not to like fast forward a lot, but after all this, it was said and done, Dot was outed. Kim will.
Okay, sorry, I just needed to share.
I was like, hey, what is happening?
Sorry.
Sorry, no, you're good. You're gonna have to go all the way down to like the middle.
Okay, because I don't have the full one, so I'm gonna go to. Okay, so here we see like Dot called Cindy. Hold on, wait. Why did my thing go like that? Hold on 1 second. Okay, perfect. So about July 10th, that was so intense. Sorry, geez, now that is.
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say?
No, that was early. Yeah, I know that. I did mention it. I guess shit.
Yeah, so that's why I was just a little bit confused, because I'm bad with dates though. But
no, yeah. No, I haven't even. I'm doing this from straight memory. I don't even go through any of this stuff. Yeah, I guess I had shit. Yeah, embarrassing.
Well, she's more than welcome to take the link if she would like to take the link. Crime Sleuth, and you're watching, take the link if you want to take the link. But no, she'll just probably create her own live after. But okay, you're like, Dot called say, see, my girl, 100% Dylan involved. We need to find proof. So what was Dot saying about Dylan?
Oh boy. I'll let you hear. Also, I told you I'd send you the recordings. That Dot was involved in the whole drug aspect of all of this and knew everything that was going on. And you had seen what he had told me about Dylan prior, about Dylan hearing everything, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Dylan texting and just played into all of that Dylan knew and was a part of the drug world, and that Dot they were a neighbor, and I really thought that they were Bridget Burhan. I'm not gonna lie, if anyone knows who that is, and I don't even want to put their name out there, I really thought, because there is a legitimate neighbor who hangs around Dylan, who whatever. And I almost thought that they knew about this girl and were kind of feeding me information based off this girl, this real girl who really does live next door. And
this story of Brat, I'm sorry, Brat. The story of Dot, she was really taking, and this is what the issue also that I had was, she actually took, and thank you, Michelle, with 1L. I'm not sure, I don't know if I'm not reading your thing right, but I'm not really sure what that means. But the persona, because I argued with Dot about this on my panel, but the persona that she took on was someone who is a legit person who lives there, right?
Tell them the time you
parents to be an FBI agent and prank called someone on your live. I'm not sure.
When we prank called Rabbit Hole. Yes, we prank called Rabbit Hole. We prank call sometimes on my. It has nothing to do with this.
Then I don't want to talk about it, guys. I'm trying to keep it. This is already so much information as it is. I just want to keep it.
You're good. That's a completely we prank calls on our friends and joke, and okay. Just trying a dick per usual. Thanks. They all are, girl. That's how they are. Anyway, okay. So, what was I saying?
We were talking about, so what you're relaying back to Steve here is things that Dot specifically stated to you.
Yeah.
You fully believe them.
Not until after the FBI. No.
So then why
I think I was probably
feeding it to Steve if you didn't fully believe it?
Well, I was probably trying to be like, hey, listen, there's this person who's claiming they have this information, yada, yada, yada.
Do you feel like Steve was just open to hearing anything, and so like there was nothing really holding you back as far as shooting it over? Were you not really looking at it from the perspective of like?
I wasn't even really thinking about it, to be honest with you. I wasn't. I mean, it's the truth. I just wasn't really even again, this was 2 months after I started making content. I have this troll come to me that has this information, trying to verify, didn't know what to do, how to handle it. I know there were red flags. But no, this was right after. How does it say July 10th? That didn't even come to me until July 11th.
I don't know.
Or was that the next morning? Was it July? Hold on.
Well, you say here, Dot called C.
Right.
That's that
night. That's the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would have told him about that. I don't know why. I really don't. I don't know.
So right here. The neighbor was there that morning smoking. So this was Dot's original narrative. Like we were saying, it did not snowball down into something bigger. And it was the neighbor was there that morning smoking with them out back. That's why he's so scared. He legit got up, saw them smoking, walked over there to just hang, thinking they were hanging. And he's so freaked out because then they found out when the cops came, and he's like in shock as to why they were all hanging out that morning.
I thought it was a he because he was using a voice changer with Cindy the first time they talked to him. Sorry, that's why I was saying he. She thought, it's triggering it. She thought it was a boy. By
Yeah.
the way, not that it matters. Yeah, I mean, I think I told him because I didn't know. I mean, who else do I tell? I just, again, look, I'm not in the world where people make things up on the internet. I'm not in that realm. You have to understand, I'm not in this like, oh my God, people come and give information and are making it completely up. I did not understand that this world is like that. I think I was just trying to tell him to give him the information that someone told me. That is all. I meant no harm.
But you do openly say that you did not believe Dot really full on until after the FBI, you know, like, and then I'm just pointing out, I'm not trying to rake you over.
Yeah, no,
I'm just pointing out what my issues were.
Yeah.
And, you know,
get it.
in here, you know, like you wrote, oh, I'm disgusted. I believe this person 1,000%, Steve. I'm so sorry. Like, but you're saying that you had red flags that you didn't believe are at that. So, like, that's the issue that I'm taking from it, you know, like, and why do you think that you would tell him that you believe this person 1,000% if you know you didn't at this point?
Well, I didn't say I didn't believe them. I didn't even know. I didn't have any information yet. I mean, that was like the next freaking day. I think I just ran straight to him to tell him what someone had told me. That's all. I mean, there was really no thinking about it. Him and I had chatted. You know what I mean? I think I don't know. I'm just trying. Sorry, I don't have a good answer. I'm just being honest. I just think I probably ran to tell him because that was the next day. But I don't think I had talked about it after that much, had I? Because I'm even surprised I said anything to him then. I don't really remember that, to be honest with you. But I didn't say anything about it for a while, did I?
You know, like you guys are going back and forth. He's referring to the grand jury members. You said, did you listen to my audio? The neighbor was over there smoking with them that morning. Dylan, you know, Demetrius and Emma. And I'm just going to pause because I just want to highlight things that I had an issue with before we ever even spoke, you know, like, and that issue was names being dropped. You know, I totally understand if people, I can't dictate what people do, right? You could speculate, you could theorize, but my issue is that these potentially innocent people, and as we know right now, innocent people, their names are being fed back with a narrative, and this is dangerous. Like, this is very dangerous. And I hear what you're saying as far as I didn't believe that somebody could lie like that. A lot of people don't, and that's kind of why I focus on people like Kim and Dot and stuff, is because people need to know this moving forward. But this is a very dangerous game to play because this is being fed back to the victim's dad. And when I say, and you know, Crime Sleuthin came at me about this, but victims' parents are going to be in an emotional, vulnerable state of mind. There's a reason why police officers cannot, or detectives can't work on their own family's cases. There's a reason why a surgeon can't operate on their child, because you're going to react on emotion. So what my fear is that what if Steve believed you guys? What if Steve believed this? And on emotion and wanting to take revenge, he then took revenge on these people, these innocent people's names, because it's disinformation or misinformation being fed directly to him. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, you're making me cry. I feel really bad. I feel really bad. I want to cry. You're putting it in a perspective that I truly had never thought about, and I fully admit that. And I just didn't know anything. And when you say it like that, oh God, I did not want any of this. I was not a part of any of this. I told him, I mean, looking back at some of this stuff, like, I don't even like to read any of these things because it's like embarrassing, but also like, I never want ever to feed false information, or like, I would never want, I mean, Steve was really good though. He was really like, you know, try and verify this, or try and look at this, or try and look at that. Like, he was, thank God, like really like tactical about it, you know, but that's not to say like maybe he did take it seriously. But this is just not, you know, I was like 2 months into making content. I'm not making excuses. I feel horrible. And I wish I could redo it, and I can't. it is what it is, you know. I just don't know what else to say, but I feel really horrible. It's embarrassing. But I don't, I mean, I know who Dot is now, but it makes me cringe. Like you said earlier, there's people that still believe Dot. I know there's people that still put Dot on a platform, and it makes me ill. Like there's been many times where I have jumped on a platform to be like, listen to me right now. Like one night with another creator on TikTok, they got in their head, and then they had this whole thing that they were going to unalive themselves. And I got in there. I was like, listen to me right the fuck now. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, and I gave them the whole lowdown in 30 minutes. And thank God they believed me. And I was like, get rid of them. They will ruin your whole fucking life. You know, but I mean, it just,
well, you know, and again, the purpose of this live is I want to be able to relay what my issues are respectfully. And I appreciate you hearing me out. And you're here to relay your side of things respectfully. Because I saw a comment in the chat. I'm not trying to convince, you know, like anybody. I'm not trying to convince you to believe Brat's story. Brat's people aren't, you know, she's not here to make you convince my side of things. It is what it is. You know, I've been speaking on her since last year. She has a right to share her side. These are the receipts. These are her sides. It's up to you guys to really take from it what you will. There's going to be things that I still don't agree with. But all we could do is really try to take accountability and talk it out respectfully. That's all that we're doing. We're adults here, you know, like that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. I'm just kind of going through a timeline format. Well, we're kind of bouncing, but that's my fault too. And so I'm going to give you guys a chance in the chat to ask any questions that you may want to have clarified, but just do it respectfully. You know, like it's very simple. Like if you have a question, if you don't agree, that's okay. Just be respectful about it. Because she is a guest on my channel. And so that's what I expect of you guys, is to be respectful.
I do want to say this too. This is totally like a side thing, but after they were outed and whatnot, you know, they called Cindy and they asked about my child and where he goes to school and personal information about my child and where and locations and specifics. And so I want to put a PSA out there that you need to be very fucking careful.
And that happens. Trust me, it happens. You know, it's scary. The internet's a very scary place, but exactly what you just said, because one of the issues I had with Kim, WSU mom, is the first panel I saw her on, she named 5 young students, first and last names, as being involved in the murders. And I said a little bit ago, about an hour ago, that the wrath of the internet is very scary. Okay. And when you are targeted by people on the internet, I don't think you guys realize how much damage they could do. They could do a lot of damage. The level of harassment, reaching out to your family members, finding your children, trolling as your children, reaching out to your jobs, it is scary. And so I know I had mentioned that earlier. So when you are putting now, and we're just creators, right? And you could experience that level. What I get pissed about is you're taking innocent people, and when I say innocent, they have not been charged. They are not even suspects. And you're putting them out with a narrative where people are emotional. And I'm not saying you specifically, I'm just saying, like, you know, like with Kim, that's what my issue's been with Kim, is you're naming 5 people, 5 innocent young adults, and or even Dylan, accusations with Dylan and Bethany. They're not speaking out right now. That does not mean that they are not getting a world of hate and harassment sent to them and real life happening to them, and they're just not speaking out about it right now. So that's why I think it's very dangerous to put people's names out. There's a difference between I have some questions with this person, or you know, like you know, something doesn't sit right, but to name people as being involved when they are not, as far as we know. What do you think's happening to them? Just because we don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening. They're under gag order. No one's going to speak out about it. But I can't imagine if these people on the internet think you are involved in a quadruple homicide. What kind of hate are they sending to you? I can't imagine the type that will really push someone potentially over the edge. Well, and
could
Sherry,
could
sorry, go
people in chat please stop talking about other creators? Like, leave the other drama y'all have alone, like, out of here. We're trying to focus on what Brat is saying.
Jeez.
And I do probably only have, I just want to get, like, I do probably only have like 30 more minutes before I'm probably going to fall asleep.
Okay.
I'm going, so I want
I'll
to, you
try
want to
to-
go through all your things. If we need to do like a night 2, I know there's
I
so
know.
much.
I
You
know.
wanted to
I
get
know.
through way too much. And I told you, I'm like, let's just try and get through done. Steve,
I know.
like, it's a lot, girl.
And I
But-
appreciate you taking the time
No, of
and being
course.
willing to come on. Like, let's be real. Her coming on, she knew that she was walking into a very controversial setting. And so I appreciate you at least
Right.
having enough I don't even know what word to use, but for you to come over here. And I even asked her if there was anything you didn't want me to talk about, and she said no, you could ask me anything. And I respect that, so thank you.
Yeah.
When did it go wrong with Dot? When did you know something's wrong here?
Well, what do you mean? I mean, again, I believed them after the FBI call, because I'm like, who sits on the phone with the FBI? But before that, there were red flags. They sent me a blurred out thing with Ann Taylor on it, and I was like, no. They pretended to be somebody else in their TikTok, in their TikTok message one time. There were like a handful of red flags.
Then it got exposed because we were all here when that happened. Dot got exposed.
You mean like at the very end?
Yeah.
Oh God. So the FBI thing happened. I called my cops. I was freaking out, and I was kind of like done with it all. And then they were mad at me because I wouldn't answer the phone, and so they went on to, I think, Rory's live first. They went on to Rory's live, and then I wasn't talking to them then. I was done. I was done. So I was like, I'm done with this. After the whole, and my parents got involved. Like, my parents literally came over and was like, I don't know what's going on, but this has got to fucking end. And I was like, just a mess. And I had to recuperate. And so, mentally, and so I wasn't talking to them. And the next thing you know, I hear that they're live with Rory, and they were telling their little story, and they were just tearing them to shreds. And then I think they were on live with CJ the next night, and that's when I felt really bad for them. Again, this is when I actually did believe. I just felt really, this is when I believed them. After calling the FBI, if you're going to sit on the phone with three-way at the FBI, I don't think you're fucking lying to me, because who does that? The irony of calling the FBI and them like not answering. I mean, what if they had answered? What if somebody did reach out to them? I don't know. I mean, I left multiple freaking reports online. I called my own cops who came here and sat here and called. I would not let the guy leave until he called the FBI. I mean, again, the irony of it all. But I just felt really bad for him. So I had him on my panel. I let him use my backup account on TikTok. And Riley kept calling him Munch, and I was like, who the fuck is Munch? And I'm like, who is Munch? And I didn't know who fucking Munch was. I don't think that was the correct person, though, to be honest with you. And then they had my backup account. So then I had gotten off live. I was actually talking to Jenna for the first time I'd ever spoken to her. I was talking to Jenna, and then I heard, oh my God, they showed their face on live, and I got a screenshot of their face. On my live, or not my live, but they had gone on their own live on my backup page. And I was like, I just was in shock. I was like, this is not a teenage girl. I know how stupid it sounds. I know, but I pictured Bridget Burhan. I didn't see Bridget Burhan, and I was like, oh my God. And I just was like, fuck. And then at that point, so one of my good friends had reached out to the person commenting in that live, who was like, Brayden, what are you doing here? Because all these
the
people,
name Brayden kept popping up.
Yeah, right? All these people were saying Brayden, and I'm like, who the fuck is Brayden? So I had talked to a creator who was in that live the next day. She was giving me the lowdown. Brayden is creator that's done that to Bebop, and the Bebop and Bonnie case kept getting brought up, and I'm like, okay, but I don't know who is Brayden then. Mm-hmm. So, and then at that point, I think Riley had put out the video of who exactly Braden was. Again, no one came to me and told me. I found out via a video on TikTok who Braden was. And then that's when I started texting Riley and I was, okay, what the fuck's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And then she kind of gave me a little bit of the lowdown and she wanted more information. I was sending her stuff and that's that. That's how.
And timeline for content.
No.
You actually found out Dot wasn't Dot about 1 to 2 days before Paramount. Correct me. It was.
I want to say it was on the 2nd. It was the night. I mean, well, it was the night. Well, no, I mean, it was the night that they showed their face. What was that? The 1st or the 2nd of August? Their face. I mean, that's when I knew. I didn't know who Braden was, but I knew right then there. I was like, fucked. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this person lied. It's not a teenager. All I saw was her face. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And that was the 1st or 2nd of August. Riley, I think, put out a video one of those days.
Yeah.
And then I flew off and filmed on the 5th. And by the way, this is like no filter, no makeup, no nothing. By the way, this is what I mean, if I didn't look like shit, listen, this is no nothing, okay? But I mean, you can tell I had no sleep. You can tell I just looked horrible. I feel like I was made to look horrible, but whatever. But I mean, you could tell, you can see it on me. I mean, I was literally like, I spent a month of my life staying up till 5 o'clock in the morning talking to this person on the phone about God knows what. I mean, even poetry, they would talk about poetry. I mean, there's just so much shit they would talk about, not just about this. And it just took my life away from me. And I feel bad I ever let it go to this extent or whatever. I feel bad I even went anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Because I believe that.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry if you've already mentioned this, but I think a few people from the YouTube side were just curious. Yeah. They were wondering, did Dot try to influence you to reach out to Steve, or did they know you were talking to Steve, or how did that go about?
They wanted to talk to Steve. I would
really.
Oh yeah.
Because Dot on my panel said that they had no idea you were even speaking to Steve, and when I pulled up messages that showed you were literally saying, "I'm relaying this back to Steve," they were asking you.
I'll find the receipts. There was one night in particular, they were like, "Give me Steve's number right now, or fuck you," blah blah blah. Oh yeah, and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, no. Yes, I have receipts. I will find them. Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and because I know you're limited time, so now I'm gonna kind of like
you're good.
Jump real quick, but
you're good.
You screen recorded the messages with Steve.
Yes.
And only because I see this is a very big topic in the chat. Oh, okay. Hold on. Sorry. The word case study says, did you actually hear any of these other people speak to the FBI besides yourself?
No. No, and I never got to speak with them. I called and called and called, and I think I sent you a couple of my. I mean, I pulled up.
I have your phone records, and you called Ann Taylor also. You sent it over to the defense. And I did see she submitted an FBI tip. I saw that receipt.
Well, and if I didn't send you the call logs for the FBI the next day, I mean, because I went back to go find them, and now they're too far out, right? But like, oh my gosh, I called the FBI days and days after the first time we called the FBI. I was like nonstop, just calling the FBI, calling. There's no like voicemail. There's no like press one for this. The FBI doesn't work that way, by the way, for all of you guys. I mean, that's half the reason when the cops were here, I wouldn't let them leave until they called the FBI. I'm like, you call the FBI, then don't you have like a direct line or something? Like, how does this work? I mean, I didn't know. I know nothing about this. I mean, this is kind of my first time in this whole freaking whatever world.
No, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, but I wish somebody did, because I would have told them everything what I'm telling you. I would have given them everything, but most importantly is the kid stuff and the Wicker platform and the payment for snatching children and the things I had to hear on the phone, and those things should be looked into, in my opinion. Still.
And so chat also has some questions about Howard Bloom, and I know that you went over that a little bit earlier, how you noticed that possibly other creators were talking to him as well. Is that correct?
I know his other sources. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
And you have not been fired from Howard Bloom.
No.
And we,
No.
I can, confirm also that, yeah, there's still communication there. And because that was something that, Crime Sleuth had put out. And so without getting into much, that's that. And so you had screen record these messages, and you're saying you shared them with a very select group of people, and you had them sign NDAs?
Yes. I have all the NDAs. Mhm.
And before I ever started speaking to you, when I went over these messages, there were very controversial in the chat. When we say sub lives, as far as TikTok guys, that's kind of like a YouTube's member live. So that's a small group of paying people, right? And
Yes.
so did you ever share these messages in the sub lives?
I went over. Yeah. Well, first of all, it's not like you remember. Well, I don't.
Okay, then please correct me.
Yeah. Well, it's like you are paying and you can't watch it unless you're literally like a subscription member.
Yes.
So like you can't even see it.
Right. Well, we
Not
have
like-
the choice if we want it
Okay.
or
okay.
not. Yeah.
But clear. It's not like public in any freaking way. And yes, I did. That's the whole reason I created the sub
Okay.
live. I wanted to go over things that he had said. And I would read off a couple of the things that Steve had said. I didn't get into all this ridiculous, embarrassing shit with myself. I got into some of the things because I think that people should. I don't know. I think that there are a couple of things in there that he has said that are quite frankly very interesting. So I would read over those. There are probably one or two that I showed my screen and I blocked out his name and his little image so no one could see them. Like no one could see like his name and his little face or whatnot.
Do you, if you could go back, would
Yeah.
you share these messages with anyone?
I think what he said is very important.
Do you think it was a wrong move though to share? Like, look what happened. Looked at the butterfly effect, the ripple effect. It ended up all over the internet. So do you think that was a bad move?
That came from character analysis. You can ask her that.
Well, and I don't want to get into, because then if we do that, I want to give her the right to respond. So without that,
Well, she's the one who shared. She's the one who shared them to the internet. I did not.
But if I put something on my members only, and I'm not talking about publicly viewed, even my members only,
Nobody saw messages like that on my sub live. It was not like that. She put them across the internet. That you can ask her a question. You can have a different live with her and ask her all about that and why she did that. Because they were not out there and they are NDA protected, and someone violated that NDA. And I know who it is.
So earlier you said Steve got a call at around 10:30 in the morning.
Yes.
The day of the murders, though?
That's what he said.
And who did he get a call from? Do you know?
He didn't know. They didn't know. They said there was someone screaming their head off talking about somebody in the woods.
So it was from like a number they didn't know, or
I have no idea. I didn't ask more questions
so
about
somebody was in the woods screaming their head off, like, and that's
what
he would have known what happened.
In the no, because it was earlier that morning. In the messages, when he said, and then we talked to the neighbor with the crazy story, I believe that's what he's referring to.
Okay, because that's weird. I've never.
It's very weird.
Heard that.
Well, when he said that, and then Dot saying there's people in the backyard, I was like, oh, okay.
That's just so bizarre to me. But okay, so
yeah, well, it was to me too. But that also, when then I was thinking that when I was telling him about Dot and what they were saying, and then he was like, "Well, yeah, this person called us at 10:30 in the morning, screaming their head off about someone in the backyard," but they didn't think anything. They didn't know anything at that point. That's what he told me. I don't know. I didn't further ask that question.
Because that's bizarre. That's like, well, was it a known number? Was it a blocked number? Like when you answered, was there any context? Was somebody screaming in the background? Was somebody just screaming? What were these? I have so many questions.
I do too. But if you notice, I know it looks like I talked to him and whatever. But to be honest with you, there was a lot of information he gave me right in, like pry. Like, I don't know. It was uncomfortable all around.
Okay. So if you guys want to, because I don't want to keep her forever, so we very may well have to do a part 2 if you're willing to. But I want to be able to get some of your guys' questions in, respectful questions. Just keep it respectful. Again, You don't have to like the answer, but it's going to be her answer. So I starred some. Okay, hold on. I starred some. And so when you called the FBI, did you talk to an agent or leave a message on the tip line?
There is no option. There's no option.
And we saw that in your messages with Steve. You were like, "This is insane. I can't get in touch with anybody."
I just called the number that he gave. I even called the number he gave me. There was no. It just rang and rang and rang and rang. You guys can try it yourselves. There was no option. That's why I submitted one online. I mean, there was like, I don't know. I don't know. There was no like, leave a voice message.
Right. Okay.
That's very true, Alex. Yes, you don't. I shouldn't even brought that up because whatever. It alluded to my dot stuff, but
Alex, but we can't verify. Right. We can't verify it, so take it for what it is, right?
Yeah, I said that.
So, and I'm going into the few that I had starts. So, Brat, when did Steve tell you the two unidentified DNAs at King Road belong to J&J, I'll say, because they are not in the screen recording of your chat with him?
On the phone.
Okay.
Yep. A couple times for hours at a time.
Oh my goodness.
Chris is like, Brad's more important. I don't want any of this. I don't want to be important, Chris. No, you're kind of like, I don't want any of this, you guys. I don't want any of this.
Okay. So in questions are allowed, you guys. I wish you guys would stop going at one another long enough that I could actually find the questions, because it's really ridiculous. In the messages with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At whatever point in your relationship with Bloom, did you stop talking to him?
Yeah, I didn't talk to Bloom like all summer. Yeah. I didn't talk to him. Yeah.
Because Steve, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember what the exact words was, but Steve said something along the lines of not wanting information getting back to Bloom, right?
Yes.
And you had said that you weren't working with him anymore. At what point did you feel, because you eventually did start working with him again, was that hard?
It's not like a working relationship. It's not like that, but I don't really feel the need to explain that to a bunch of strangers hating on me in your chat. I had randomly talked to Howard way later after the fact, and I had verbally said to him, well, listen, there's some stuff about a grand jury, and Dylan texting saying, I think someone unalived them. That's all I said.
When you're looking back at like your messages with Steve, do you think that, like you communicating with him, that he may have been communicating with countless other creators or source, whatever you want to call them, and that the things that he's relaying back could be a mix of what he knows and then what he's being told by others? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought that from the beginning. I think that he had and it's just my opinion, like he couldn't sit by and just like, all right, you handle it. I think he has this overwhelming desire to want to get the answers, but I think that it gets mixed and muddied up with social media and what he's being told, and then the actual investigation. And so we have to be careful really with anything we hear, because it may not be exactly coming from.
If you go back through certain creators on YouTube's platforms, they are word for word the day that Steve told me certain things, that person then linked it, like JLR. Like word for word. Like if you go on if you go through my messages and you go and look back
that too,
way back when to July, and what Steve told me on that day, JLR then leaked it the next day, and I didn't. I'm just saying that word for word, for fact, he's telling other creators the same thing. It's like word for word.
So you think that Steve was in communication with numerous others outside of yourself and it was being used to leak information, not only from
I'm not saying that. I don't know. I'm not
there's
saying
a chance. I know you're not saying it for
I'm
certain.
just saying that
Right.
I know that I was getting the same information as a couple of other creators, like word for word, because me and these other creators have spoken. I'm not referring to JLR. I've not spoken to JLR, but I know from looking at his stuff, whatever. And then I have spoken to a couple other people, and like word for word, it's the same things. So I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, and thank you for answering. And I'm sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling through. May asks, and she asks it respectfully. She said, "Did you continue to talk to Steve about getting justice for his daughter after you went to the defense? I promise no hate. I'm just curious."
What do you mean after I went to the defense? Like,
I'm not sure.
I would still be talking to Steve if he wanted to talk to me, but he obviously wants no contact with me. Totally understandable after all the bullshit. So no, we don't speak. I mean, I apologized to him like a million times, but he obviously has not responded. So, and I'm not gonna keep, but I just wanted to apologize. I do want to say this though. He does, however, think that I edited his voice into the audio with Kane, which is why he's not speaking to me, I've been told. And that's not true. It was me, Rory. We were calling Kane. I've also think I've shown you the receipts, Melissa, of Rory. And we go over recording it, whatever. And so all that's bullshit as well. But that's what's frustrating is I think that he thinks that I edited his voice and I would fucking never. Like, that's just absolutely absurd. And that it didn't happen. If you were there and you heard the audio, I still have the audio because it's a recording with Kane and me and Rory. Steve's voice is not in it. So I don't know why he thinks that. I don't know. I don't really understand it. I feel bad. But his voice is not in it. So I don't really, I don't know why he thinks that.
Okay. Yeah, it was you and Rory on the phone with Kane's wife, right? That's the one when you guys were verifying.
Yep.
Do you want to talk at all about Rory and what happened with Rory? Or if you don't, that's okay. It's whatever you're comfortable
doing on part 2. It's almost my bedtime, but I'm happy to answer as any questions. I know I have a lot of hate in your chat. It's okay.
And my mods are doing their best. It seems like it's coming from both sides, man. And I feel like I've asked 300 times just to keep it respectful. Like, you don't have to be convinced. Nobody's sitting here trying to convince you my side, Brat's side. It's just we're both speaking. Take it for what it is, and that's that. I don't get why it's such an issue. But
Chris, I'm curious why Brat thought she was qualified to step in on this case. I just very much said I did not, and that I have no qualifications, and that I was new. That's I think why I believed a troll. Now you'll never catch me believing anyone on anything.
So Educated Opinion asks respectfully, and are you willing to admit that you ignored red flags and the truth because you were too wrapped up in the views and clout you were receiving at the time? And you don't?
No, absolutely not. I don't care about views. I don't care about clout. I don't care about any of that. I truly want answers on this case. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not about that kind of stuff. And I don't post content to get views and clout. I barely post any videos. I've only ever posted videos on my page regarding the Idaho case and speculation. If you've noticed, there's not like a ton. I don't post every day to get views and clout. I post when there's something newsworthy or to talk about. But did I ignore red flags? Yes, but during that, I didn't ignore red flags. I talked about them with Cindy. At that point, I hadn't come out at that point. It was like, I believe Dot. It was really the FBI thing. And I lived by that because it was that moment where I was like, there's no fucking way. I knew they were fucking with me. Like, they tried to pretend there was someone else in their stupid fucking TikTok chat with me. And I was like, this person's fucking with us. What is this about? Is this about money? What is it about? And I was like, fine, fuck it. We're calling the fucking FBI. And then that whole story. And I was like, oh my God, this story. And about all these other things that are really bad.
And that's when I was like, holy fuck, who would sit on the phone with the FBI knowing that Kim is 3-waying right now? Who would do that? And that's when I believe that.
And that's a good point. And that's what I was very interested to hear you explaining that to me. And again, she took me in 3.5 hours worth of not screenshots, like freely moving through her phone. And so there was transparency there. And so that is kind of my point, though. Oh my God, I don't know why people are willing to lie about this stuff, but they are willing to lie about stuff to the point that they're willing to submit it to the FBI, try to get in touch with the victim's family. Like, and I asked Dot that. I said, Dot, you knew, because he's like, I never knew it was going to get back to the families. I'm like, what do you mean? You're coming on a public platform claiming you have inside information.
I think I told them. I think I was like, I'm going to tell Steve about this. Like I felt like I had like these little things over time that I was like, okay, I'm going to call the cops. You know what I mean? Like I'm waiting for them to like tell me, like, you know, and they didn't, and they just kept going on with it. And I was like, holy shit, is this fucking shit real? You know, I mean, I wasn't trying to perpetuate it on TikTok. And yes, I did that. And yes, that is what I regret. Absolutely.
If you could look back on all of this, what would you want people to take from it? Like, looking at your story, it is what it is, you know, like, but what do you want people to take from it?
That there are literal people on the internet that will lie about being involved in a quadruple homicide for I don't know what reason, and we'll never know. I've spent months trying to understand why me, why the story, and you can't, because we're not people that would do that, you know, but that there are people that will lie about this stuff, and that you really have to have. And I mean, I think a lot of the other creators taught me that, you know, they're like, we tried to tell you. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I didn't mean to get caught up in this shit. But like, you know, I think a lot of them taught me how to verify people, and just by mistake, you know, just by showing me how they do it. And, you know, like background checks, IDs, things like that. I think it's really important, if someone is ever going to come out like this, to send them to law enforcement and not get involved. But also, if you're going to have somebody that wants to give you a story, freaking verify. I would say send them to Ellie and don't ever get involved in it. But also, if you are, like, really verify them, like ID, FaceTime with their freaking passport or driver's license. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly never going to be doing this again. You know, like I don't believe anything anyone says now, but that people legitimately do this shit. And that I just never believed in a million years that people would lie about being involved, let alone towards the end they were involved in unaliving. Like,
and something interesting you said to me was with the Paramount, you know, with the Paramount, you were fully vetted. Like, everything that you claim,
they had to go through everything.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I have my feelings about Kim. Kim did appear on the Paramount Cyber Sleuths, but I never thought Kim wasn't who she said she was versus what she was saying. But I did find that interesting, as Brad explained, because it was interesting to hear the process of what happened behind the scenes for this, you know, and they went very far.
For me, at least. I mean, I'll be honest with you, for me, I mean, I went through all this stuff like with you, like I did with them. And they were just, I mean, we had to cut like filming because they didn't know that I talked to Steve. They didn't know this when I was filming. And then halfway through, I was like, well, you haven't seen the messages? And I gave them to Jenna on purpose, hoping that she would give them to them, because I know that they all thought I was like lying at first. I'm like, I'm not. I mean, like, look, Dot, like, I know there's Dot, but then also like, I'm not lying about this though. Like, this is real. Like, Steve's shit's real. And they didn't know that. And so halfway through we had to cut, like, actually, I think they were still rolling. I don't even know. But we went through all this kind of stuff, kind of what we're doing now. And then we had, you know, Riley and Jenna come back, and then we were talking about it, and they were like, well, what if that's not Steve and whatever. And I know after the fact, I'd shown you the messages from me and one of the producers.
Yes.
And they had went in and said, yes, like, we verified that phone number is the one that is used that.
They did, and I want you guys to know that. Yeah, they did, and Brat showed me that they verified that, yes, this phone number in her phone records, the one I saw, like, is the same
Verizon,
number.
Not no screenshots.
She didn't know. I saw all of your families too. Like, there was nothing held back, you know,
really, like all my phone records.
Yeah, you're like, there's my IMEI, there's this, there's that. And you're like, just please don't show that. And I'm like, I wouldn't, but
like, well, I don't know what numbers are on there. I was like,
it's the
like
same
all my
number.
family's whole records, but here's all this.
Yeah. No, well, that's what I'm saying, because that's a big difference between here's some screenshots versus you did freely move.
Girl, I went into Paramount, locked and loaded. Like, I mean, I pulled my Verizon phone records. Okay, like I was like, here, y'all. Here's my Verizon account. Log in, zoom around. There's, I was like, there's Kim. There's the FBI. There's fucking Steve. There's, whatever. Like I was like Rory, Alyssa, mainly. Oh yeah, but that's the other thing. I'll be honest with you. With Dave, I was just like, side note, I always thought Dave was fake, to be honest. Out of all the, I know I'm ridiculous.
Out of all them, right?
Out of all these people, I actually always thought Dave was fake. And when I saw Dave in Cyber Sleuth, I was like, I mean, I didn't even know Dave was going to be in there. I'm like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been trying to figure out who Dave is, to be honest with you, just for my own mental whatever. I just personally want to know. I mean, not to whatever.
We all do.
Because I'm blown away that Dave was in there, because that means that Dave is who he says he is. Via like Dave, I'm saying that because Dave is not giving us a name, so I don't know who Dave is. But the fact that like Dave is in there, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of blown away.
I'm blown away by this comment right here. Jane Doe, you can't honestly believe this, because Jane Doe says your beliefs don't need to be mine, and that's okay. Kim's husband is photographed with Maddie. He has a wig on, so shut it. Yeah. Like, it's things like this that makes me concerned. What type of wig? Are we talking about like a Karen wig? Are we talking about a mullet? Listen to what you're saying, please. And I know all opinions are welcome, but this is the type of crap that it's mind-blowing to me. But to now put, do you see what this is why I have my Kimbleweed, because now are we really going to say that now her husband is included and is photographed with one of the damn victims? How likely is that, you guys? This is ridiculous. But I will ask you, Brat, for creators moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any credibility in Dot's story? Do you think they should be hosting?
Oh my God, no. Now, I'll tell you this. After Dot was outed, there are two people that have tried to perpetuate, not Kim. I'm talking about random motherfucking people on TikTok that have tried to perpetuate someone that I trusted, that I sent messages to, who signed an NDA. Someone has, after the fact, tried to tell me that Dot's story could be their niece's story, and that their niece has the same story. And we can get into that another time. Okay. But I'm telling you that this whole thing, I stumbled upon another one recently where they said that it was after the fact, and they tried to tell me some of the same story. So I can't tell if people are just trying to continue to troll me, probably, or if this story came from this person. Or I'm not saying there's any credibility to it at all. I'm saying fuck Dot and Dot's story. But what I'm saying is that I don't know why there are people after the fact trying to tell me that this story is also their niece's story. I find that to be very alarming.
And Kim is still actively pushing that there's some credibility with Dot.
I don't know why anyone believes Dot at all. I mean, I don't know why anyone even entertains Dot. I want nothing to fucking do with them. It's exhausting.
It is. Shay, is there anything you want to, because poor Shay's been quiet this whole time.
I know,
so
sorry.
Before I let Brat go, is there any questions that you want to ask? Because you haven't had a chance to.
No, I don't think so. If I have any, we can connect later. I'm sorry that the chat has been disruptive, and that's not the way we had planned for things to be.
Girl, it's all good. Let them get all the hate out on your page, so they don't come troll me on mine.
We don't want it for anybody, to be fair.
I don't even, girl, I haven't even been reading it. I've been peeping at. I can't do two things at one time. I'm peeping at it every once in a while, but you're good. I told her, I said they're gonna go.
Well, and I told you, I knew that you were gonna get backlash from my side, but yeah, it's I just listen, I appreciate you coming on. We don't have to agree with it, you know, like this is your
Whatever you
side.
want.
And there's a lot, like this is why it took a 3.5 hour screen recording, because and you're like, this just scratched the surface. There's a lot.
There's a
I
lot.
understand that there's a lot of
more.
questions in the chat. I want you guys to be aware. I don't come from TikTok, so I apologize that there are some questions or things that you're saying that I'm not privy to. So I really won't know the context to ask her. But I appreciate you being willing to come on. I appreciate you being
I
transparent.
know, and we might have to do a round 2 because you and I both now have the same goal of trying to figure out these trolls and why are they perpetuating and where does this stuff come from? Because I tend to think that all these stories are not just random. I tend to think that maybe they're all
they have overlapped, and that's been my issue. They have overlapped, and they shouldn't overlap.
I agree.
But you know, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for taking the time. Again, I apologize that not everybody was respectful, but we're not trying to push Brat's narrative down your throat. I'm not trying to push my thoughts down your throat. We're able to have a conversation, and so I respect everybody being in here, whether you have issues or not. Thank you for being in here. Thank you, Brat, for coming on, and thank you, Shay, for coming on. And I look forward to doing it again because there's a lot more.
There's a lot more. I told you, she tried to get through all of it. And I was like, girl, just to go with Steve and Don.
You had a lot.
Okay?
You had a lot.
Like, we'll be here literally all night if you want to keep going into the rest of it. I mean, there's too much. But, you know, and none of that. Look, I want to say this too. I mean, I know a lot of me and other creators have bashed heads, biting heads, whatever, just regarding a lot of this stuff. But I hope that some of them, you know, see that I really I fucked up. Like, I was new. I didn't know anything. You guys started making content last April. This all came to me in July and then in June. Like, it's insane, you know, for me. And it's been a whirlwind. And I have not really spoken. I haven't made like an apology video. I haven't really. It's hard for me even to wrap my head around it. It really is. It really is. Because I still want to know why lie? Why? And I always have to tell myself, okay, Sydney, you're never going to know. You're never going to understand who would do this, who would try and perpetuate lies about this case. I didn't know there's people on the internet like this. I really didn't. And now I know, and now I've learned. So now I'm with you on all these trolls and all these whatever fake story people. And I get it. I see it. People still try come in my inbox and tell me some BS. And I'm like, nope. You know, now I've learned. I mean,
concerning, you know, but I appreciate you at least saying that. And I have to say, shout out to Bodhi moving in the chat. It was actually her. It was like a day or two before you reached out to me, and it was her who made a video, and she was critiquing my live. Constructive criticism. I appreciated it, but she's like, don't be confirmation bias. She's like, if you're going to talk on this, you need to go out and get all sides. And then you had reached out to me. I don't know if it was the day or next day after, but it really stuck in my head. And I was like, if she's willing to talk with me, again, we don't have to end this agreeing, but this is your side of things. Take it for what it is. I've expressed my feelings. You've expressed yours. You gave me clarity with things. And so I appreciate that. But that's what tonight was really supposed to be about, is just to hear all sides of it. You don't want to just be narrow-minded. And so thank you to Bowdy, because I appreciated the constructive criticism. And if she didn't make that video, I'm not saying I wouldn't have responded back, but it really stuck in my head to see what you're willing to share with me. And so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think we can all help each other out. It's just the way we go about it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to hear when people are like, we told you so about the troll. And I'm like, oh, you know, it's like, it's hard to listen to people. And I didn't. There was a lot of people who said, I don't know, be careful about that. And I didn't. Yeah. I did not listen to that shit because they were my haters. Why would I listen to my haters? Okay. Like, I'm like, oh, they're just mad that they don't have a story. And yes, I literally thought that. And yes, that's embarrassing as fuck. I get it. It is.
But again, I have a lot more respect to sit there and just say I did, you know, or I didn't. There's no excuse. It's embarrassing. But, you know, what would be more embarrassing is making an excuse. No, there's not taking accountability, you know, like, and I'm not trying to sit here and shake my finger at you. You know, I'm just saying,
oh, I know
we fuck up, we make mistakes, but I think realizing, I fucked up and I made a mistake, that's a lot more respectable. Then
it's still going on TikTok. There's just somebody I called out today who's been freaking lying about shit and living down the street and this and that. And we found out who they are, and they don't live there. And, you know, there's just, I mean, there's little things now that I've seen. It still goes on. I mean, I don't know what it is with this case. Is it people that live in Idaho or near Idaho that want to just, I'm not even saying near Idaho, just people in general that want to be like close to this case in that sense. So they insert themselves. Like I know a lot of people say I insert myself. Like I have no intention of fucking inserting myself into any of this. Okay. I do not want to be here right now.
Well, I'd like to know why
But-
that person reached out to you, you know, like what made them, like if it was innocent, it was innocent, you know, like, but
We'll get into it.
it was interesting to see that after reaching out, you were like, actually, no, I don't want to talk with victims' families, and look what it turned into, right? It kind of, you should have stuck with your gut instinct right there, which was, no, I don't want to have involvement in that. So now we know moving forward as creators and subscribers that people are willing to do this and to use it as, you know, try to prevent it from continuing to happen moving forward.
Yeah. Just use my mistake as an example. I wish that there was a better way to tell new creators about it, because truly I think a lot of people like true crime, and I think a lot of people like me just kind of fall into it, and like
Yeah.
I'm always like, I didn't choose the true crime community, like I don't know how I got here, but like I did. And you know, and then here I am with all this shit, and yes, Dot was fake, but the Steve stuff's real, and it's just a mess. You know, I just wish I was never involved in any of it. You know, I don't want attention like that. I would rather just be speculating on why Dylan didn't call for 8 hours. I really much would rather speculate about that, whether you agree with it or not. I really would have just stuck with that. Like, but I'm just saying it's really hard to explain this to new creators who haven't been through this. And you know, how do you tell them that, you know, like how do you explain it? Like I'm like, use me as like fucking guidance, please, and just like don't let these people fool you. And if they do, send them to law enforcement. I don't know.
Well, and please, guys, like, and I'm not trying to like, again, shake my finger at other creators, but after listening to all this, I think something we could all agree on is that Dot is not legit. So why you would continue, if you see the creators that are continuing to push that narrative, you don't just vet the information, vet the creator too. There's a reason they're doing this. She admitted herself she had no association. Now you heard Brat's story. Come on, I don't care what side you are on. Dot is bullshit. So shame on the people who are still pushing that agenda, in my opinion. I will say shame on WSU Mom Kim. That's my opinion, not your opinion. You know, that hold me accountable for it. But I think these people need to stop. Justin, Kim, Dot, back the fuck up, get the fuck away from these cases. If you really have information, give it to defense, give it to prosecution, send it to the right people, and then back the fuck up, because what you're doing has a ripple effect and it's leading to this exact type of shit happening. So in order for it to stop, you guys need to stop. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on. And I would love to do a part 2. Thank you, Wolfie. Nobody cares, Crime Sleuth. And she didn't come in as far as I know, but
She's making community posts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But thank you, Brat. I appreciate it.
Thank you for another lie about me. You guys, listen, there's a lot of shit. Listen, but I'll tell you something. I do not fucking lie. And I'm willing to tell anybody and show anybody anything who wants to listen to it. Nobody really has asked me. Like I said, if anyone wants any information, I'm happy to fucking give it all to you too. Like I'm Melissa Jade, just happened to be someone who answered, but no one really asked. But I'm happy to share it with whoever. And I haven't really even done this on my own page.
Yeah.
Like I haven't.
Well, and I think you should. I think, and I told you that privately too. I think you should drop all of your, if you want to, though, you know, like
no,
drop
this is good. You do it. I'll give it to you. Just because I can't handle it. It's a lot mentally. This whole thing has been a lot mentally. Like it's a lot. And frankly, it's scary. And please, anybody, please just know that this person posts children and talks about children. And just please, like, it's not funny. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what else in the world, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. It's scary.
Yep. And
whatever else
they do. And Jules. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. But exactly, it's scary, it's terrifying, and it's a big lesson that needs to be learned, you know, like for us as creators, as subscribers, just to know about this. And I would love to do a part 2 now that we kind of got, even though it wasn't so exact and like clean, but we got pretty much a little bit of the timeline there. So I would love to be able to do a part 2 and kind of go back into now, give us like, you know, this is more casual specifics of what happened. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thank you to mods. And happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter. I know I gotta get to bed. It's Monday. It's no longer spring break for me. So
nope. But,
All right. Well,
all right,
thank you guys. I'm
Good
gonna
night,
hop out.
Brat. Good night, Shay.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Oh, everybody left me. Thank you, everybody. Again, tonight is not about, hey, I'm stuffing Brat down your face. Take this story, believe it as it is. I'm not here to convince you guys what she's saying is true. I can tell you and at least verify the parts that I did see and what I saw for myself. But we all don't have to agree. You don't have to walk away from this live believing Brat, liking Brat, believing me, liking me. You don't have to. But we can have a discussion, and I very much appreciate being able to have a discussion. I want to find the truth. That's what my mission is here, is I want to find the truth behind Kim, your live. I was respectful tonight, but your live is coming Wednesday. Keep an eye out for that. We're doing a live on Kim. Because the shit you're pushing about me isn't going to happen. See, people like that don't like to be exposed. You don't like to be exposed, so then you end up turning around and accusing me of doing the exact thing you're doing. But we'll discuss that on Wednesday. You will Kimbleweed along. And so I want to hear all sides. I do not want to be biased. Again, shout out to Bowdy. She made a video and it was very constructive criticism. It was good feedback. It was telling me as a viewer, hey, this, if you're going to speak on this, the least you could do is hear all sides to it. And she's right. That's what my due diligence is. I have to be able to put aside my personal feelings and have a conversation, not scream at each other, not get nasty. That's why I wish people in the chat wouldn't have either. Her answers are her answers. My answers are my answers. It is what it is. I'm totally losing my voice though, so I'm going to hop off. Thank you to my mods. You guys have been amazing. I appreciate you guys being here, sticking it out, doing what you're doing. Thank you for anybody who came in, who's not going to stay. Thank you for anybody who's here and you are going to stay. Just thank you all for being here. I appreciate the different opinions and perspectives. And so we will definitely do a part 2. And I plan on getting all different perspectives on, because there's many people who want to share their story regarding this Idaho case and what they experienced. And I plan on getting everyone's side of it. So thank you all so much. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. And I hope you all had a very happy Easter. And I will see you all tomorrow night.